Khomotso Phahlane traces police corruption back to an ANC conference, and heavy rains continue to cause damage in Limpopo. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Former Acting Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane has told Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee investigating police corruption that political interference in the SAPS started at the ANC's 52nd National Conference in Polokwane. Phahlane says the 2007 conference, where Jacob Zuma was elected ANC president, is when illegal practices really took hold of the police. It's the same event where cell phone spying grabber devices are said to have been used. Phahlane was giving evidence before Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee yesterday, where he's also told MPs of a plot to have him removed. Babalo Ndenza reports.
Former Acting Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane focused his evidence before the Ad Hoc Committee on events surrounding his dismissal from the police. He also told the committee that police corruption and interference is not a new phenomenon and started as early as 2007.
Political interference has been prevalent in the South African Police Service, and it became more prevalent following the 2007 Polokwane conference.
Phahlane also told the committee about an elaborate plot by former IPOD head Robert McBride to get rid of him using the media.
The attacks directed at me by Robert McBride and O'Sullivan and their sustained campaign through the media, both print and electronic, bears testimony to their control of individual journalists whom they weaponized against me.
Phahlane says his dismissal by the then Minister Fikile Mbalula was unlawful and he's still fighting it in court. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
As flood waters continue to rise in some parts of Limpopo, the province has escalated its response by asking national government to formally intervene. Severe weather conditions continues to cause extensive damage to infrastructure, with schools shut, roads cut off and communities isolated. Mongezi Koko has more from Limpopo.
The provincial government has asked COCTA to classify the flooding as a provincial state of disaster. Days of relentless rain have left bridges and roads submerged, particularly in Bembe and Mopane, where schools have been forced to remain closed and learners unable to return to class. Communities have also been cut off from clinics, transport routes and basic services, with power outages reported in some areas. COCTA MEC Basekopo Makamu.
Already we are in the process of submitting a local state of disaster to be declared, but also we are going to declassify this as a state of disaster.
Officials say conditions remain dangerous as heavy rains continue and residents are urged to avoid flood-prone areas. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
Meanwhile, it remains unclear when flights in and around of Woodspruit in Limpopo will resume after Airlink grounded operations due to the heavy rain. The airline says flights will only return once government and air traffic and navigation services declare it safe for operations. Airlink spokesperson Lyndon Burns says the carrier is working with sandparks and local lodges to assist stranded passengers.
Airlink is in constant liaison with all the relevant stakeholders and authorities, and as soon as they declare that it's safe for the airport to resume operations, then Airlink will restart flights as well.
And Uganda is on the edge as it heads for elections today, with President Yoweri Museveni expected to extend his 40-year rule amid an internet shutdown and police crackdown on the opposition. Citizens have been advised to secure their doors and windows and designate a safe room in case of unrest. After 4 decades of rule, Museveni has faced a concerted challenge from singer-turned-politician Bobi Wine after his stronghold where he grew up in the capital Kampala. As with his 2021 campaign, hundreds of Wine's supporters have been arrested in the run-up to the vote. Gold is trading at $4,539.69 an ounce. The rand is at 16.40 to the dollar, 22.05 to the pound, 19.11 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.37 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got some delays reported already on the Makwa North. This is just as you approach the Crown interchange. And then remember to be on the lookout for those faulty traffic lights in Sandton at the M1 South and Grayston Drive. They're also out of order in Midrand at the N1 North and Olifantsfontein Road.
And in your sports, Senegal beat Egypt 1-0 to set up an AFCON final with the hosts Morocco, who beat Nigeria on penalties. Arsenal got a 3-2 win over Chelsea in the first leg of the first semi-final, the Carabao Cup. Breaking news out of New Zealand, the All Blacks have axed coach Scott Robertson. And in SA20 cricket, the Sunrisers Eastern Cape beat the Joburg Super Kings to go top of the table.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 14 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 16 and 30 for the Inching, 15 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Former Acting Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane has told Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating police corruption that political interference in the SAPS started at the ANC's 52nd National Conference in Polokwane.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast on this 15th of January 2026. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa, and it's a thrill to be with you for the next 3 hours on 702 Breakfast. On our menu today, how close did Cat Matlala come towards having his own luxury private terminal at one, or at least what is supposed to be one of South Africa's most secure facilities, the OR Tambo International Airport. This would have allowed him to move goods and people unchecked in and out of the country. He even made a proposal to one of the country's largest banks, and this is how he was going to execute his plan. It all came to naught, but it raises the question once again of people with these questionable business dealings having that much access to power. We'll speak to News 24's Jeff Wicks about a new story that's just dropped this morning on the online platform. Gwede Mantashe says, of course he was misquoted. He says, go listen to that interview I gave to the SABC. I never at any point said young people were lazy. They just need to get up and go and apply for the jobs. Surely the inference is clear. So instead of focusing on what Gwede may or may not have said, we want to talk about why it is young people aren't getting the jobs. The crisis of youth unemployment is a ticking time bomb, and we dare not ignore it.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 6 o'clock. Our first story, as I say, this morning is going to be looking at just how quickly it, or at least how close Cat Matlala became the owner of a luxury private terminal at the OR Tambo International Airport. It's a shocking story, and it was a bold scheme. That private terminal, of course, would, as I say, have given him the ability to bypass critical security controls, giving him control over who could enter and leave the country via that particular terminal. You can see the kind of questions it already raises. South Africa's youth unemployment, that crisis is back in the spotlight, and it sparked a fiery debate. Those comments by Gwede Mantashe and reports from News 24 and Business Day suggesting a disconnect between policy, employer expectations, and what young people actually experience in the job market. So we've got somebody who's going to be telling us, they've crunched the numbers, and they're able to tell us exactly what it is that we are seeing as far as the actual picture of the labor market is concerned. So that's a big interview coming up after 7 o'clock. And then we're going to tell you about a new health tech solution, South African made. And the idea is to make it easier for families to stay on top of their medical information without the stress of paperwork or lost files. It's an app called Ajuda, and it's a free digital health vault that lets you store and securely access your own and your children's health records anytime. So things like vaccinations, for example, if you're a parent of a youngster, or indeed, let's say your child is now a teenager, and you're being asked, were they vaccinated for this? Were they vaccinated for that? And you can't remember. Maybe you were going through a crisis. Maybe you were going through a divorce. Maybe you were relocating cities or countries. You don't remember. You didn't keep up with everything you were supposed to. You don't have the records. This will take care of all of those sorts of problems. And then, just before 9 o'clock, I'm so thrilled to tell you she's coming to the studio. The legendary Maki will be joining us.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
As always, of course, I am not alone. Yesterday, I was the bad parent in the team very clearly because, of course, Amoramila wasn't here. Mutero Khwaripe wasn't here because they were seeing their little ones. To be fair, their little ones are much more little. They're much littler. My little one is not so little anymore. So it's all fine. It's all good. Welcome back, Amoramila, firstly.
Thank you. Good morning, 702 lenders, and morning, 702 team.
I promised everyone I would not say Happy New Year beyond Monday, but I haven't seen you, so I feel obliged to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you too.
Yes.
Looking fresh with your new hairstyle. Is this your 2026 hairstyle?
You can watch us live, by the way, on our YouTube channel. There's nothing new about my hair. I am not my hair. Isn't that what India? Ari saying. Muteo Khwaripe, good morning.
Morning, Bongs.
How was the first day of school?
It was exciting, but of course we were nervous as the parents. I think we were more nervous than
Yes, I was about to say, tell the truth. Who was really the one who was nervous and scared?
We were the ones that were nervous and scared. I mean, he ran in there, took charge, put his books away, and he actually asked us when we were leaving. Like, okay, guys.
Okay, I'm fine. You can clearly see I'm safe.
You can go, yeah.
All right. So if you dropped off your little one, it's an issue that was quite fascinating to watch because it came up in Parliament because the chair of that ad hoc committee looking into all kinds of accusations as far as our crime intelligence or crime, not intelligence, but a criminal justice system. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, taking the chair to task because he mentioned that some of the parliamentarians were not there because of that first day of school. And Julius Malema says, well, we didn't have that option. We could also have taken it had we been given it. So I chuckled when I saw that little comment. We'll certainly bring you up to speed with what is unfolding there. But here's a question. Have you ever taken one for the team? You took the blame for something either you realized much later wasn't your fault, or even you knew at the time was not your fault. But to get along, to go along, you took one for the team to keep the peace. Muteo?
Several times I've done that, either with friends that are in trouble and they ask me to back them up, or sometimes I take blame for things that are not my fault, but just to keep the peace.
I was laughing at you because I thought you were going to say, as a married man, if you don't know how to do that, you're in trouble.
No, just keep the peace, take the blame.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault. Everything's your fault.
Amo?
Oh, many, many times, especially within my family circles, when things go wrong. There was a time when we used to take care of my grandmother. We would take turns in taking her to the clinic or what have you. And if something would go missing somehow, if her file would go missing or she would forget her meals, somehow I would be to blame because why didn't you prepare her meals? I'll just take the blame. Then later on, when we unpack, when we now when we're sitting down, as we would be in an ad hoc committee, I would then give out the details to say, well, at this time, this is what you were supposed to have done. You were not there and this was your time and. So, yeah.
And then people would say sorry?
No, life just goes on. Sorry for who? You never really get sorry from your elders.
I want to know from you, and we'll explain why we're asking that question coming up. Have you taken the blame for something that wasn't your fault? And either you knew it at the time or you later discovered that actually, and do you sometimes employ that as a strategy just to keep the peace?
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
We're keeping an eye on developments in Parliament and that ad hoc committee. We're looking at the evidence that was given just yesterday by the former acting National Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane, who was in Parliament yesterday and giving evidence in front of the ad hoc committee. And it got fiery at one point, and I want to bring you up to speed with what the former acting National Police Commissioner, you remember, of course, he was appointed in the wake of the dismissal of Ria Pierre as the National Police Commissioner. This was under Jacob Zuma, who was President of the Republic at the time. Fikile Mbalula was the police minister. And he says he was axed and he was not removed lawfully from office as was required by the Constitution, but instead a decision was taken by the then Minister of Police, which he says was not the legal route.
I'm giving you all that to say I was not removed by the President of the Republic of South Africa as the Constitution and the Police Act dictates. I was made to step aside by the Minister of Police then. No law provides for such. That's why I continue to say that my removal from office cannot be found anywhere in the prescripts.
He went to explain about how it is that he had a meeting with the then police minister, Fikile Mbalula, and he says he became a guinea pig or a test case, if you will, for the step-aside policy.
Correct. You will know that I was a guinea pig of the step-aside policy because it was first applied on me for whatever reasons. On that day, I was in Pretoria. I get a call from the office of the minister. I can't remember who specific in the minister's office. And I was asked to travel to Cape Town for a meeting with the minister. I had no reason not to respond to such. Made travel arrangements, got here to Cape Town, waited for more than 3 hours for the minister to come. He came. We had our less than 5 minutes meeting. He was there with his deputy, Mr. Bongani Mkongi. At that time, the media was dominating with Phahlane and IPIT and Robert McBride and O'Sullivan. Ministers simply asked, General, in view of all this negativity in the media, is it not better that you maybe step aside?
And he says because he wasn't glued to any post, he accepted his fate and later reflected on the fact that, in fact, it should have been the president to remove him. I think it stands to reason, though, that ministers are appointed they're appointed by the president. And so you would imagine that if they're going to take a decision such as axing the National Police Commissioner, acting or otherwise, the president would be well aware of such a decision.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
19 after 6, Mateo Haripe, you are here fresh and ready with your own question.
Yeah, I want to know from you and the rest of the 702 landers this morning, Bongs, when you order from grocery and delivery apps, realistically, how soon do you expect them at the door?
Oh, this is a gripe of mine. I ordered something from Take a Lot just last week, and we have a collection point which is about 3 km from my house.
Yeah.
And if I wanted a delivery at my house, it was going to arrive on the Monday. But if I wanted it earlier or sooner, I could go and collect it on the Saturday. Or at least it says from.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the tricky word that you only realize when the package doesn't arrive. It was meant to arrive on the Saturday. It only arrived a week later.
And are you the type of consumer to pick up the phone and remind them of their delivery promise?
I just got annoyed, but then I looked at what they had said and I saw the word from. Because you see the Monday or the Saturday. You don't see the word from. So there was no reason for me to call because they would have said to me, but we said from.
Amo, when you order groceries, you want them within minutes?
Yeah, if it's
groceries, as soon as
possible? Definitely within minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Depending on how close I am.
30?
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Bongani thinks you're generous.
30?
Yes.
I think it's just demanding.
30 minutes. No, Bongani, it doesn't take you so long to pack. I mean, when you order grocery
Pressure.
to be delivered, you're not usually ordering a whole lot of things. You're ordering just a few things to get going.
You're not the
Isn't it?
only one ordering. That's the thing.
But I'm ordering like a plate of chicken or whatever.
You clearly don't use Woolworths Dash, right?
No, I don't. I actually don't use a lot of grocery apps to order my
But when you do,
groceries.
you
But when I
expect them
do,
to
I
be
expect them
Now.
in 30 minutes
Yeah.
at least. Right?
Dash, does Dash still exist, actually? Would be a fair question.
I have no idea.
It probably doesn't because it was never Dash.
702.
Weather.
This EWN weather is brought to you by Samsung. Summer, heat wave. Choose your perfect temperature with Samsung air conditioners. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. Isolated showers and thunder showers are expected. Temperatures will max at 27 degrees in Jersey. 30 is your high in Pretoria, 29 for Vereeniging. Cape Town maxes at 23 degrees. Gqeberha and East London, 26. Your high in Durban is 28.
Tis the season we've been waiting for. It's summer and the heat is on. It's time to make memories. The days are longer and the nights are warm. Skies are clear and the vibes are perfect. Make your home the coolest place to be this summer with Samsung air conditioners. Experience ultimate refreshment with your friends and family. Make every day a cooler, smarter summer. Shop at Samsung stores online or speak to your authorized installer.
EWN Traffic.
Let's catch up with the roads. Our first traffic report for the morning, 22 after 6. Amma, what are you seeing? This EWN traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
Well, we do have delays, Bongani. This is on the N3 North due to roadworks that are taking place right as you approach Modderfontein Road. So please be on the lookout there and approach with care. Speaking of Modderfontein Road, we've got faulty traffic lights reported at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek. So please be on the lookout there and do expect delays. And then if you're traveling towards Four Ways, delays already on the N1 North between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. Malibongo Drive in itself is backed up towards the N1 exit. So please approach with care. We'll have more updates coming up. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. It's a pity how our people easily forget. Did Mr. Patlani forget that he actually made a studio in his house out of stolen money? People were collecting money from his house. So what did he want to do? He wanted to stay as a police commissioner. He's rotten. He must go to jail. That's money.
Well, that's your response to what you heard at the ad hoc committee in Parliament investigating allegations of criminality within our law enforcement agencies.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
I'm probably going to botch his name, but in things that you need to know about this morning, Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen and Greenland's Vivian Motzfeldt sat down in Washington with U.S. officials, including the Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday to talk about America's push to control the Arctic territory. The meeting lasted less than 2 hours, ended without any agreement, and essentially what the Danes are saying is that it is clear that the Americans are not prepared to see any reason as far as Greenland is concerned. And in fact, the Danish Foreign Secretary going so far as to say it looks like invasion is certainly one of the options that is on the table. It is the most extraordinary development if you really think about NATO and the alliances. But it does seem that the threats made by Donald Trump to get Greenland the easy or the hard way may indeed not turn out to be so empty. Now, do you know how some of your favorite brands or products started life? Well, it was on this day in 1889 that Coca-Cola began its life, guess as what, Amo? It was a medicine.
As in
Medicine.
to heal.
To heal. It was sold as a remedy for headaches, for fatigue, and nervous disorders, in inverted commas, whatever that means. It was marketed as a health tonic, not a soft drink. Fast forward, of course, it is no longer curing pain. I can see one or two doctors saying it probably does cause some pains. But Coke, of course, has become so much more. It's about moments, memories, cold bottles on hot days. And I just wonder, what is that product you are emotionally attached to, right? Not just something you use, but a brand or a product that you are loyal to. And how long have you had that relationship going on? I'd be curious to hear about that. Send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702. Now, this week in Japan, the South Korean president and the Japanese prime minister, who in fact was a former heavy metal drummer, closed a 2-day summit with a surprise drum session, playing K-pop hits like Golden and BTS's Dynamite and exchanging drumsticks afterwards. Beyond the music, the leaders met face-to-face to discuss serious issues, including North Korea, economic security, and crime. Oprah Winfrey has a new book out. It's called Enough: Your Health, Your Weight, and What It's Like to Be Free. And it's co-written with a Yale doctor. And what she has been explaining, she's been on a book tour doing several talk shows in the US. And what she explains is that she's figured out that obesity is in fact a disease and that it's not a matter of willpower. And she's shared how GLP-1 drugs, prescription drugs meant to help the body manage weight and blood sugar, have helped her. And she says for people with obesity, it is not your fault. And she talks about food chatter and food noise, and that it's not a matter of it simply being your lack of willpower to not eat an incredible amount of food. I'll play you some of what she's been saying a little later on in the show. And that's why we've been talking about, have you accepted blame for something that wasn't your fault? She says she spent her whole life allowing even comedians to make fun of her because she thought, well, I do overeat. I am the one at fault here. And she's now learned perhaps that it was never her fault to begin with.
702.
The newspapers.
Svisa Zulu, let's go straight to the newspapers. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongani. Iran continues to dominate newspaper headlines internationally, and the latest is that US President Donald Trump says he's been told that the killings of protesters in Iran have been stopped, but he says he will watch and see about the threat of military action that he made a couple of days ago. He's repeatedly talked in recent days about coming to the aid of the Iranian people over the crackdown on protests. So the protests have been happening over the past 3 weeks or so against the government and the deepening economic crisis, and apparently the Iranian government has threatened executions for people who continue to break the law in the country. And Donald Trump says now he's been told that the hangings will not happen going forward, but he is still watching and see if the military action that he threatened a couple of days ago will actually happen.
All right, we're looking at the front page of the Business Day this morning. South Africa welcoming the extension of AGOA, but there's still uncertainty about South Africa's eligibility, and the future of that trade framework continues to pose serious risks to regional currencies, supply chains, and overall business confidence, says the Business Day. Sowetan floods, glitches spoil day one. Severe weather in Limpopo and Mpumalanga and admin snags in Gauteng prevent pupils from going to class. They set me up. And, of course, this is the fired cop who was testifying before Parliament yesterday, the former acting National Police Commissioner, Khomotso Phahlane.
EWN Business.
All right, Mateo, you want to know how demanding are we when we order our food or groceries from apps? How quickly do we expect them to be delivered? What prompts the question?
Well, the Indian government wants delivery companies to drop the 10-minute delivery promise that it makes to its consumers amid concerns over worker safety. The discussions involved major brands like Zomato, Amazon, Blinkit and Zepto, which allow urban shoppers to order groceries and a range of items, including electronics and household supplies, within minutes. So Indian consumers can order anything from iPhones to milk and get it delivered to their doorsteps within minutes. Now, news comes a little more than a month after India granted legal status to millions of gig and platform workers under new labor laws that require aggregators such as food delivery and ride-hailing platforms to contribute 1 to 2% of their annual revenue to manage social security funds for the workers. Now, according to the government think tank Niti Aayog, India's gig economy employs more than 8 million workers and is projected to reach 23.5 million by 4 years. Now, the main concern is that there are a lot of accidents that are coming up because of this 10-minute promise, with riders trying to get to their destinations as quickly as they can, and the Indian government saying no more of that. Get them to the doorsteps more safer, so drop the 10-minute promise because that gets more pressure. In South Africa, on our phones, we have Checker 6060, Pick and Pay ASAP, Woolies, Take a Lot, and we've seen more incidents happen on our roads that involved delivery bikers as well.
I got to tell you, a week ago, I think it was Friday morning at around 7:15, I needed some ingredients. I was going to make banana bread or something. I was going to bake, and I needed like a couple of things. And I ordered on the 6060 app thinking the store's open around 8 o'clock. It'll probably come 8:30, maybe just before 9. It was there within 15 minutes. By 7:30, they were hooting at my gate.
It's impressive, right?
That was quite impressive.
But you
as
want
a consumer,
them to be there safer.
Yeah, you hope they are. But as a consumer, I was really, really impressed with 6060.
Yeah, so the main concern is that they're not getting to their destinations and the time pressures are...
So let's all stop being Karens and Davids, eh?
No, just order, but wait patiently.
Amo. Where's the rand?
16 Rand 42 against the US dollar, 19 Rand 11 cents against the euro, and at 22 Rand 4 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,589 an ounce, or platinum at $2,294. Brent crude at $64.37 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go. Good morning again, Sfisa Zulu.
Good morning, Bongani. After spending the first day of school at district offices, desperate for placements, the Gauteng Education Department has assured parents that their children will be placed. Yesterday, while most parents accompanied their grades 1 and 8 children to school for the first day, some were stuck at offices for the day. The school system in Gauteng is under pressure, with the number of children surpassing places available. Khomotso Modise has more.
After missing a milestone moment for their children on what was meant to be the first day of school yesterday, parents of pupils who've not been allocated a school left the Morningside district office visibly concerned and disappointed. While some have been asked to give the department 10 days to find schools for them, others have been asked to come back on Friday. Yesterday, angry parents surrounded Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona demanding answers. But Mabona insists there is a plan, saying like they have done previously, they will set up temporary classrooms in some schools.
And once their satellite school was open, then we move all of them to the satellite.
The satellite schools that the department speaks of are made of mobile containers. These types of classrooms, though often set up to resemble traditional schools and are fitted with ablution facilities, have previously been rejected by some parents in the province. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The Department of Agriculture plans to spend at least 1.8 billion rand over the next 2 financial years to fund its mass vaccination campaign against foot and mouth disease. The Director General of the department says they will have to rejig spending priorities to fund the program. 2 million animals have been vaccinated over the last year as the outbreak ravages livestock farming in 5 provinces. Yesterday, Minister John Steenhuisen announced the first phase of a strategy that aims to reduce outbreaks by 70% in hotspot provinces within the next 12 months. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
South Africa lost its FMD-free status in 2019 after failing to keep up with local vaccine production. Minister John Steenhuisen says he can't undo the past and the decisions that led to production virtually grinding to a halt. Now he's looking to Argentina and Turkey, from which to import millions of doses of vaccines, with the aim of reaching 80% of cattle populations within a year.
We're really calling on farmers and veterinarians not to use vaccines that do not come through the official channels because you could end up essentially sparking a whole new FMD outbreak.
Director General Muketsa Ramasodi says there's no specific allocation in the departmental budget to fund the vaccination program.
The funds that we'll be utilizing will be funds that will come from the department through a reprioritization process.
Steenhuisen plans to approach Cabinet soon to declare the persistent outbreak of FMD a state of disaster, which could then unlock emergency funding for the vaccination drive. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Ukraine has declared a state of emergency in the country's energy sector with a particular focus on Kyiv as ongoing Russian strikes continue to leave thousands of residents without power. President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of deliberately exploiting the harsh winter conditions as part of its war strategy, with overnight temperatures in Kyiv recently dropping to around 20 degrees Celsius. The declaration comes as Zelensky's U.S. counterpart Donald Trump says he was holding up efforts to secure a peace deal to end nearly 4 years of war with Russia. He has told the Reuters news agency yesterday that Ukraine is less ready to make a deal than Russian President Vladimir Putin. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 14 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 30.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North. This is between the Malibongwe Drive exit and Winnie Mandela Drive. Speaking of Winnie Mandela Drive, we've got some delays in the Fourways area. This is between Witkoppen Road and the N1. Please be patient on the roads.
The top story this hour, the Gauteng Education Department has assured parents that their children will be placed.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on primemediaplus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the primemediaplus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery and unveiling benefits. Apply today, it's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Hi, this is Anlia Itzebet, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Yo, Bongani and Mateo, I want to know, South Africa, why do they call it a cart still on the online systems? I mean, nobody in South Africa will call that little basket thingy with wheels a cart. It's a trolley. Come on, let's get the guys, South Africa checkers and those guys, make it a trolley, not a cart. Come on. From Rustenburg.
Of all the things you would be concerned about when you order online, because, you know, as you shop, you dunk it into your cart. He's making a good point, though, actually.
Because in South Africa, we call it a trolley.
Yeah.
Actually, I
never thought about
I
that.
never really say it cart. I say cart maybe when I'm on the app, but I usually say trolley.
That is an excellent, excellent point. So when you order online your groceries or even food, right, the online app says, you know, do you want to add it to your cart? And he's saying, but we don't speak like that. All these apps should call it a trolley. Do you want to add the food or the item to your trolley? Uber Eats, Checker 6060, are you guys listening?
EWN Sport.
Oh my goodness. Take your pick, Cindy Paluta.
Oh, I was going to say, between a cart and a trolley. I was going to say, I prefer a cart because a cart just doesn't sound like it's got a front wheel that wobbles as you push it. Like, I feel like if I'm adding it to my trolley, the trolley suddenly feels heavy and still, and like it needs to retire.
No.
But yes, go ahead.
Listen, I mean, take your pick. Yesterday, the AFCON semi-finals. Wow. I missed it, of course, because it was at 10 o'clock at night, but I've seen some of the highlights.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
if you missed Bongani, I will tell you that the final of AFCON to be played on Sunday night will be Senegal against the hosts Morocco. Senegal beat Egypt 1-0, Mane with the goal, while Morocco needed a penalty shootout to beat Nigeria 4-2 after that game finished goalless. It's the first time Morocco's through to the final since 2004. For Senegal, it's their third final in the last 4 AFCONs.
Wow. What are Senegal doing right? Hey?
And the thing is, you never think like Senegal's a powerhouse of African football, but if you've played in 3 finals of the last 4
You're
AFCON,
doing something right.
You're doing something right.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
In the Carabao Cup, Arsenal beat Chelsea 3-2 in the first leg of their first semi-final. Arsenal's goals came from White, Gyökeres and Zubamendi. For Chelsea, Garnacho came off the bench to score both in the second half. Blues new boss Liam Rossinier was happy with the performance.
I'm lucky. A coach is as good as his players. I've got a very good squad. I felt all 3 of the wingers today. I felt Esteval has some magical moments. Pedro now was outstanding. For me, one of the best players on the pitch, playing 3 different positions for me. And then I can bring on Ghana fresh. I'm really looking forward to working with this group. Ghana gets the 2 goals today, but there were some really, really good performances, considering the illness we've had in the camp and the injuries we've had as well.
Breaking rugby news from New Zealand this morning. Scott Robertson has been fired as All Blacks coach 2 years into a 4-year contract. New Zealand rugby chairman David Kirk says the decision was made after reviewing 2025.
The view of the high performance team and of us generally was that the All Blacks are not on track in the way that we need them to be on track for the 2027 World Cup, and indeed for what will be a very demanding year in 2026 with the 4 matches against South Africa in rugby's greatest rivalry.
In SA20 cricket, Sunrisers Eastern Cape thrashed Joburg Super Kings by 61 runs. Sunrisers posted 178 for 5. Coles 61 from 34. De Kock made 54. They had the Super Kings 117 all out with 2 overs to spare to go top of the table. Tonight, second on the table, Pretoria Capitals are hosting third on the table, Paul Royals. And at the Dakar, stage 10, South Africans Latagang and Cummins coming in 6th. They remain second overall in the standings. They're 12 minutes behind the leaders. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Hi, my name is Offense. I'm 11 years old. I go to Crystal Park Primary School, and when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. I'm so excited to play the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani.
We can't wait to play with you too, Dr. Offense.
EWN Traffic.
16 to 7, this EWN Traffic brought to you by Ford. Live at your peak in the Ford Everest. Where are the pressure points, Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got an accident in Randburg. It's on the N1 North. It's right after Bears Nadia drivers causing delays. And if you continue making your way towards Four Ways, do expect heavier traffic volumes towards Winnie Mandela Drive. And then, of course, we've got roadworks taking place on the N3 North. This is just near the Modderfontein Road exit, causing delays from the Kilulis interchange. And speaking of roadworks, there's more that are taking place. This is along the N17, both sides of the road. This is between Osborne Road and the R23. I'll have more updates coming up. Please stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's towing a boat to the lagoon for the weekend. And then there's towing a boat with your Ford Everest. With tow haul mode and Pro Trailer Backup Assist, you're not just a driver, you're making it look easy. That's peak living in the Ford Everest, starting from only $837,500. Includes our Ford Family Promise with our Ford Courtesy Fleet, keeping your adventure moving. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&Cs apply.
Stop.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
Start the year right with We Buy Cars. Selling your vehicle, they'll come to you, handle everything, and pay you instantly. Simply visit webuycars.co.za, complete the form to discover what they'll offer you. Need a new ride for the new year? Browse thousands of options online or at any We Buy Cars branch nationally. We Buy Cars. Buy or sell the simple way.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll.
Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. All you need to do is send us an answer based on something that you heard in the show that piqued your interest. We'll give you $1,000 for that. So simply WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then a little later, someone else will ask a question to win 2,000 Rand. Now remember, you always stand a better chance of being selected to give us the answer if you have SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So do it now. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
All right, let's give away some cash, shall we? We've got 10,000 Rand up for grabs. The Whiz Quiz, of course, contestants have to be aged 10 to 13 to play. And today it is the turn of Ofense, who is 11 years old and goes to Crystal Park Primary, wants to be a doctor a little later on in life. Dr. Ofense, how has school been so far this year?
Fine.
Are you enjoying it?
Yes.
Meeting new friends?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see if you can meet new money in the Whiz Quiz. Let's start the clock. Spell the word report.
REPORT.
Correct. What is 10 times 10?
100.
Correct. From which language is the word sushi? Is it Japanese or Arabic?
Japanese.
Correct. True or false? Great white sharks are omnivores.
False.
Correct. On which continent is the River Jordan? Is it Asia or South America?
Asia.
Correct. What sport does Siya Kolisi play for South Africa?
Cricket.
Rugby. In movies, which Disney movie is Elsa in?
Elsa. Frozen.
Correct. On which holiday do you go trick or treating?
Halloween.
Correct. What do bees make?
Honey.
Correct. In the USA, the abbreviation FBI stands for what Bureau of Investigation? And we don't have time to complete the question. We're looking for federal there. You did really well, Ofense. You walk away with 8 correct answers. 800 Rand. Very well done, hey? Hey, Ofense, well done.
Thank you.
All right. Sounding a little bit disappointed there, but I would say 8 out of 10 answers was really, really great. She was on a roll at one point. At 11 years old, I would take 800 Rand any day.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
I've been telling you about this new book, Oprah Winfrey, the American broadcaster, talk show host, author, and so much more. She's been on a new book tour, and she's been talking about obesity, and she's calling on insurers to treat obesity as a chronic medical condition, arguing for life-changing treatments. The new book is called Enough, Your Health, Your Weight, and What It's Like to Be Free. And she says for years she has believed that her weight was a personal failure. And she opens up about an emotional journey because she's been freed by these new medications for weight loss. I'll play you some of the clips and some of what she's been saying coming up in the show.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
He's a name, of course, that has become familiar to many South Africans. High flying, how Cat Matlala courted Nedbank for a luxury terminal at Tambo in a deal that would have been worth about 17 million Rand. This is a story that's just dropped on News 24 this morning. You remember, of course, it was initially their investigations that revealed some of the questionable dealings that Cat Matlala was involved with, including, of course, the implications of his involvement at Tembisa Hospital. Jeff Wicks is an investigative journalist par excellence at News 24 and joins us now. Jeff, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Bongani.
Kat Matlala is a figure that pretty well knows what it's like to live the good life. Who better than he to offer this luxury private terminal at OR Tambo?
Yes, it's somewhat poetic, and I think the takeaway for me is that this is a man who clearly had untrammeled ambitions about wealth. Our investigation started looking at his state procurement, both at Tembisa Hospital and at the SAPS, both mired by allegations of fraud and corruption. And now that he's behind bars at the most secure prison in the country, we learn that there were plans afoot to have a stake at OR Tambo International Airport, and a very valuable one, 70 million rand a year that he was asking for from Nedbank.
So he went to the Green Bank and offered them what he called the Green Lounge, which would have been an exclusive, tranquil haven of luxury. Just tell us a little bit more about what he was offering.
Well, yes, there's many adjectives in his concept document that we obtained, but in broad strokes, he was going to build this lounge at the cargo terminal, which seems like a bit of an odd location, but albeit he would have had access to both land and air sides of the airport. And how it was pitched as this haven of tranquility with the best fine dining, bars, smoking rooms, and sleep pods. And it would be for Nedbank's uber wealthy, both their black card holders and their VVIP clients.
So that seems harmless enough. But of course, with these kinds of things, and particularly when you're talking about a secure facility like OR Tambo, there's much more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah, certainly. I think the trappings of wealth that he was pushing upon Nedbank really is at the surface. The implications of this is that Kat Matlala's agents would have been responsible for security screening at that airport, and according to the pitch document, they would have had a way to fast-track a client through customs. That tells you that it was more than a lounge, but it was actually a terminal. And now we have someone who, by implication, is placed in very close proximity to drug cartels and the like, having control of security processes at a national key point.
So that would have allowed him essentially to have control over, at least in terms of access, who came in and even out of the country, both goods and services.
Yeah, I think you've touched on the important one there, Bongani. It's the goods, who comes and goes.
Just explain what was at risk here, and what did he pitch to Nedbank in terms of obviously having secured this, because presumably he would have had to have had some kind of arrangement with the specific airport.
Well, this is what remains to be seen. We need to now try and understand exactly to what extent he had influence at either the Airports Company of South Africa or at OR Tambo, because according to his pitch document, it seemed like the premises had been locked down, and we know that Nedbank officials, even if they now want to put distance between themselves and Mr. Matlala, they had repeated meetings with him, and they even went on a site visit. And this is after Mr. Matlala was linked to Tembisa Hospital issues. And the issue here boils down to security. The reality is his agents via his security company, which is controversial in its own right, would have had pride of place at that airport, controlling who goes in and who goes out and what they carry.
I mean, in your piece, you quote Nedbank as saying that they received this concept proposal, but following an assessment, it didn't meet their requirements.
Yes, that is their line. Quite a terse response. They didn't want to answer our questions. The issue for us was exactly how much Nedbank knew and when. Because Kat had been publicly named in February of 2023. This entire deal played out, albeit stillborn, several months later after he was already in the public domain. So then again, it speaks to the willingness of corporates to associate with people who, operate under a bit of a blight.
It's not the first time we've seen attempts for private terminals at OR Tambo. This was something even the Guptas tried to do. This is essentially quite a key way for people, shall we say, with questionable dealings to be able to move people and goods in and out of the country with authorities looking the other way, essentially.
Yeah, that's certainly where one's mind goes. I mean, the Oppenheimers were dealing with Fireblade. They owned, similar concept at OR Tambo. But I think when we talk about Kat Matlala, what is striking for me is, an arrogance about him, because this is someone who was named in the Tembisa hospital reportage, someone whose public persona was, thrust into the spotlight. And, the arrogance of Cat to then, under his own name, go for this SAPS 360 million rand tender and this airport deal. I mean, he's the one who signed these documents when he'd already been, engaged in this murk. So that's what I find remarkable, and his, obvious heightened levels of greed.
Well, there's also the issue, you talk about his heightened levels of greed. We also know from your reporting the extravagant lifestyle he has lived, the Rolls Royces, the designer clothing, the mansions, whilst some people who have worked for him have claimed that they weren't being paid their salaries.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when that SAPS tender was cancelled, and bear in mind, by the time it was cancelled, he'd already been paid 50 million rand to operate that contract for just under a year. He left his staff unpaid and suppliers unpaid. There's multiple examples of his suppliers having to take him to court because they owed multiple millions of rands, because instead of paying them and servicing this tender, he was frittering it away on mansions and cosmetic surgery for his wife and high-end cars. So it really is the quintessential life of a tenderpreneur that he lived, which is now completely unraveled.
What does all of this suggest about our political class? I'm reminded now of the former police minister, Bongani Bingwa, who went to Parliament and quite openly spoke about tranches of cash he had received from Matlala. In fact, staying over at, meeting at hotels and staying over at some of his properties. That kind of proximity to power for an individual such as you've described. And Bongani walks away into the sunset and we all move on.
I think it really highlights the poverty of our political class. I mean, Bongani will say, well, I'm no longer a minister, I can do what I want. But unfortunately, that's not good enough. And politicians are and should be judged by the company that they keep. And those who have been in close proximity to Mr. Matlala will now weather the storm for that. But I think it talks more about accountability. We know that Vusimuzi Cat Matlala has a case to answer for what happened at Tembisa Hospital. That was more than 5 years ago. Imagine a scenario in which he'd been pursued adequately for what happened at Tembisa. Perhaps he would not have extracted a further 50 million rand from the police.
So where is the investigation now? You say that you want to still find out exactly what AXA knew and what their involvement was, or indeed OR Tambo International Airport themselves. Have they responded to your questions?
We'll be knocking on the door in the days to come, Bongani. The reality is, in this case, we know that Mr. Matlala was either looking for a building or had a building secured at OR Tambo International Airport on the cargo section of that facility. Now, it would weaken his case or weaken the perception of him significantly if this Nedbank deal was pitched as if it was a sure thing and he didn't even have a building to put them in.
Yeah, because, it would be pretty audacious for him to go as far as having this concept document, as you say, several meetings with the proposal for the bank without having secured the facility in the first place.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeff Wicks, appreciate your time. Investigative journalist with News 24. You can read that story on the online platform. It just came out this morning, Cat Matlala, with this proposal for the Green Bank. And the idea was to service their VIPs and their high-profile clients. They would have been able to get through in and out of the airport with goods and services without the normal screening requirements that most passengers would go through. Presumably then he would have had some kind of arrangement to be able to offer such a bold scheme to a credible financial institution like Nedbank. So more questions there still to be answered on that investigation.
7:02. Coming up, the big interview.
Mandasha says he was misquoted. He never used the word lazy. He doesn't think that, or at least he says he didn't say that young South Africans who are unemployed because they are lazy. So what's the real picture? Coming up, we're going to be speaking to somebody who's been crunching the numbers, who's going to offer insights on why so many young South Africans struggle to find work despite actively applying, and how the market can bridge the gap. That's all to come after this Eyewitness News brought to you by Khaliks. Khaliks for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is EWN.
No golden handshake for the IDT CEO, and Dumsani Khumalo heads to Parliament to answer questions about alleged police corruption. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The government-owned Independent Development Trust says there won't be a golden handshake for its controversial CEO, Tebogo Malaka, whose tenure comes to an end this month. The entity yesterday announced Malaka's resignation from the top post, which is effective from the 31st. The organization says she won't be receiving an exit payout. Malaka was embroiled in controversy last year, as Tabiso Goba reports.
In August last year, Tebogo Malaka was caught on video trying to bribe Daily Maverick's investigative journalist Peter Dutoi. She was trying to keep quiet a story implicating her in the irregular 836 million rand oxygen tender. A forensic investigation into the tender alleged Malaka facilitated for it to be given to an unqualified company. Malaka has publicly denied all allegations against her. In the meantime, Public Works Minister Dean McPherson has welcomed her resignation.
Importantly, her resignation does not stay or waiver the current criminal investigations or civil proceedings that may arise.
Sfiso Ntsibande will continue as the IDT's acting CEO. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Head of Crime Intelligence Dumsani Khumalo will take the hot seat today when Parliament's ad hoc committee continues its hearings into allegations of police corruption and interference. Khumalo is expected to give testimony for the next 2 days and will take MPs through evidence involving allegations of sabotage and interference, as well as Minister Senzo Mchunu's decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team, which was headed by Khumalo. His testimony follows that of former Acting National Commissioner Khomozo Phahlane yesterday, who told MPs about a plot to have him removed, as well as political interference and rogue units within the criminal justice system. Babalondenza reports.
Dumsani Khumalo has already made 2 appearances before the Matlala Commission, where he told commissioners about efforts to derail certain investigations involving the criminal underworld. He also testified about unlawful appointment of officials, a matter which led to his own arrest by the investigating Directorate Against Corruption in June last year. Khumalo also revealed details of the so-called Big Five organized crime syndicate that he said has infiltrated the police. He told the Matlala Commission that he is in possession of evidence of various payments implicating Minister on Special Leave, Senzo Mchunu.
And in particular for the benefit of delegates of such event who are apparently linked to the Minister Mchunu through the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, in the office of the Minister.
Khumalo can also expect questions from the evidence leader and MPs on his relationship with KZN Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and his arrest by IDAC last year. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
As flood waters continue to rise in some parts of Limpopo, the province has escalated its response by asking national government to formally intervene. Severe weather continues to cause extensive damage to infrastructure, with schools shut, roads cut off and communities isolated. Mongezi Koko reports from Limpopo.
The provincial government has asked COCTA to classify the flooding as a provincial state of disaster. Days of relentless rain have left bridges and roads submerged, particularly in Bambe and Mopane, where schools have been forced to remain closed and learners unable to return to class. Communities have also been cut off from clinics, transport routes and basic services, with power outages reported in some areas. COCTA MEC Basekopo Makamu.
Already we are in the process of submitting a local state of disaster to be declared, but also we are going to look at classified as a state of disaster.
Officials say conditions remain dangerous as heavy rains continue and residents are urged to avoid flood-prone areas. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
And US President Donald Trump claims that he had been told, or has been told at least, that the killings of protesters in Iran has stopped. Trump has repeatedly talked in recent days about coming to the aid of the Iranian people over the crackdown of protesters that rights groups say has left at least 3,428 people dead. But in a surprise announcement at the White House, Trump said he had now received assurances from very important sources on the other side that Tehran had now stopped and that executions will not go ahead.
I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me some information that the killing has stopped.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, on the other hand, has dismissed reports of executions of protesters who have been on the streets since December, railing against a soaring cost of living. In an interview with Fox News, Araghchi claimed that Israel is orchestrating the violence.
First of all, hanging is out of the question, as I said. This is another piece of misinformation campaign that they have started to provoke President Trump and to drag him into this question, and which could have disastrous consequences.
Gold is trading at $4,539.69 an ounce. The rand is at 16.42 to the dollar, 22.05 to the pound, 19.11 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.37 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Midrand, we've got delays on the N1 South. This is between Samron Avenue and Olifantsfontein Road. Speaking of Olifantsfontein Road, traffic lights are still out of order along that turnoff, so please be on the lookout there and approach with care.
And in your sport, the host Morocco beat Nigeria on penalties. They'll face Senegal in the AFCON final on Sunday. Garnacho came off the bench to score twice, but Chelsea still lost to Arsenal 3-2 in the Carabao Cup. Breaking news from New Zealand rugby, where the All Blacks have parted ways with coach Scott Robertson 2 years into a 4-year contract. And in SA20 cricket, the Sunrisers Eastern Cape have gone top of the table after last night's win over the Joburg Super Kings.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg is at a low of 14 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria, 16 and 30. Vereeniging, 15 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The government-owned Independent Development Trust says there won't be a golden handshake for its controversial CEO, Tebogo Malaka, whose tenure comes to an end this month.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
It's time to get back to business by visiting Khaliq's, because a new year means a fresh new start and even more opportunities to look smart with Khaliq's collections of business suits in a range of colors, styles and quality fabrics, not to mention the very best quality, value for money and service. So whatever your New Year's resolution, do it in style with business formal, relaxed and casual collections, all from Khaliq's, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I asked the question a little earlier on. Have you taken one for the team, accepted blame for something you knew wasn't your fault, or perhaps even discovered later on, upon reflection, wasn't your doing? I've been telling you about a new book that's out, Oprah Winfrey, Enough, Your Health, Your Weight, and What It's Like to Be Free. She's been talking about the new medications that are all the rage as far as weight loss, and she talks about how for years she accepted shame and self-blame for the excess weight she carried and believed it was her personal failure. She now says obesity is something that has to do with genetics, and she should never have taken the blame. And she's calling on insurers to treat obesity as a chronic medical condition.
The reason why I've done this book with Dr. Anya is because what I felt all those years, the shame and the blame that I gave to myself, I felt it because it was my fault. I felt it was my fault I was overweight. And so when comedians made fun of me, I felt like, well, it's okay for me to be the butt of their jokes because I should be losing the weight. I should be able to keep the weight off. And I felt embarrassed every time I put the weight back on. So I accepted it because I thought they were right. You know, that horrible moment that I had on the Tonight Show when I was so excited to be there for the first time, and I bought these new shoes and I spent my entire paycheck on the Stuart Weitzman shoes. And Joan Rivers said to me, shame, shame, shame on you for not losing the weight. How did you gain the weight? How did you gain the weight? And Joan, how did you gain the weight? And I remember leaving feeling embarrassed, but that she said I could come back if I lost 15 pounds. So I wasn't even like upset with her. I thought, I got to get on it. I got to lose those 15 pounds. Yeah.
It's a timely conversation because, of course, many people who struggle with weight will tell you, particularly at this time of the year, that it's on their goals, it's on their New Year's resolutions to run more. And if you're somebody who has struggled with weight, you will know exactly what you had say, for example, yesterday, you can say every morsel, you can account for every morsel of food you had at what time, and you'll be negotiating how to do better, or if you did well, to stay on course. These interviews, or these clips, are taken from interviews she conducted on the show The View, and she's calling on insurers, medical aid companies in our sense, to treat obesity as a chronic medical condition.
The reason why I'm out here in these view streets, the reason I'm out here in these view streets and have put myself out here is because I believe these medications should be accessible to people who need them the most. And I think the insurance companies need to get on board with the program and stop pretending like this is not a chronic disease. It's a chronic disease, and the way you fix a chronic disease is to be able to offer it to as many people as need it for their disease.
That is Oprah Winfrey. Up next, we're going to have a discussion about young people and unemployment in South Africa. You remember, of course, it all stems from that SABC interview that Gwede Mantashe gave, in which he argued that there are sufficient resources to help young people find employment, but in fact, it is they who are failing to make use of them. He now says that he was quoted because he never used the word lazy, and he doesn't understand why people are so upset. So we thought we'll play you that original clip. And yes, he doesn't use the word lazy, but you tell me if the inference is unclear.
Correct. But you could have better said that the government should have given support. The government have not been following my interviews. There was a day I dedicated time on BEE. Hey, you didn't follow that. Yeah, that's what I got. You see? This one is open 10 of what I'm saying. The one that you were saying, some people are not taking initiatives and all that. They don't. But you are saying you are agree. I go to China. I'm a China because the government of China makes that the resources available in support. No. Here. The government give you land, give you tractors.
It's a little unclear, but essentially what he's arguing there, and he says, for example, he goes to China all the time, and he talks about how South Africans, you could give them tractors, and still the grass will grow around them because they won't be able to use the resources that they are given. But here's the original interview where he explained that South Africans are not employed because they are simply not applying for the jobs.
I've never had a government looking for a job for me. You know that? Never. I went to Tambo, I took a contract, went to the mines, worked as a miner, went back home, bought cattle, bought sheep, went back to the mines, and I did that. The difference is that today, because there's a progressive government, people expect that government to go and give them jobs. They don't look for jobs, and that must change. I'm sure to be here in SABC yourself, you look for an advert, you applied, you got into SABC. Not the SAB looking for you. You looked for a job and you got employed. And people must begin to appreciate that you do queue up for a job, you get employed. Adverts are not going to employ you. You'll have to look for the advert and apply.
Yes, indeed, there's no word lazy there, but surely the inference is clear.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Things you need to know at this hour. South African artist Gabrielle Goliath has been dropped by Johannesburg's Goodman Gallery just weeks after being selected to represent the country at the 2026 Venice Biennale. The gallery ended its 10-year relationship with the artist, citing a wider structural business review. And it's controversial, of course, because the Arts and Culture Minister, Gayton McKenzie, cancelled her participation over part of her work addressing the killing of women and children in Gaza. It follows hot on the heels of the Adelaide Festival in Australia, where a Palestinian-Australian author's participation was also revoked by that festival. Randa Abdel Fattah, a prominent critical of Israel's war in Gaza, her invitation was rescinded by the Adelaide Festival, and about 180 other authors who were also due to participate at the Adelaide Writers' Week also pulled out, and it's thrown that festival into disarray. Martin Luther King was born on this day in 1929, and this is an interesting one. When you need information, where do you go first? It was on this day in 2001 that Wikipedia went live. No boss, no newsroom, no single authority. Millions of people around the world editing, correcting, debating, and improving. And the actress Regina King turns 55 today.
7:02. Up next.
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
16 after 7, the CWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. There's a crash on the N14 East, Amo.
That's correct, Bongani. That's in the Milders Drift area. It's on the N14 East, as you state, Bongani, and it's right after Malibongwe Drive. It's causing about a 20-minute hold up there. Please be on the lookout or try to use Malibongwe Drive to try and navigate your way around this accident scene. If you are traveling in four ways, we've got some issues reported on Winnie Mandela Drive. That's between Witkoppen Road and the N1, and then there's also queuing traffic. In fact, peak time delays on the M1 South between the Baklu Interchange and Marlborough Drive. I'll have more updates. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsman can't help you choose a hairstyle that doesn't take 45 minutes, but they can ease traffic congestion so you get to work stylishly on time. With the Outsurance Pointsman on the roads for the past 20 years, we can all get to where we need to be quickly and safely in the new year. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag #PointsmanLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
All right, I just played you that clip there from the ANC's national chair who says he was misquoted because he didn't use the word lazy. All right, let's leave that well alone. What is the reason then that young people in South Africa find themselves in this unemployment crisis? Gweda Mandashe says the jobs are there. All they need to do is simply apply. But is it really that simple? We've asked somebody who's been crunching the numbers, who knows all about the landscape for young people and unemployment. Zengeziwe Msimang is the Chief Communications Officer at Harambee, and they've been looking at what it is that is preventing young people who are actively seeking jobs from not getting them. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, Zengeziwe, and thank you for coming into the studio for us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me, Bongani.
All right, let's talk about it. Gweda Mandashe says nobody ever went and looked for a job for him. He doesn't quite understand why it is young people are not applying for jobs. Is it really that simple?
It is far from that simple. And I think first and foremost, it's important to understand that young people are actively applying for work. We have a platform at Harambee called SA Youth. And it's actually part of a government initiative. And what we find is we've got 5 million young people that are on the system, and this is actively work seeking. These are work seekers. So that number alone just tells you that young people are looking for work actively.
All right, before we get into your database, perhaps just for anyone who's listening to us who may be unfamiliar with the work that you do, just give us context perhaps about what Harambee does and the work that you do, particularly when it comes to young people and unemployment.
So Harambee has, over the past 15 years, really we were established to find ways to help young people enter the economy, enter the labor market, and work, earn an income. And so what we've been doing is looking at building out a system which is part of the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention, which is called SA Youth. It's an online platform, and it's designed taking into consideration the barriers that young people face. And I think that's important to understand that there are barriers, really serious barriers. Young people looking at transport, for example, it's extremely expensive because of where young people are located. You've got somebody who's in Soweto, and they're actively seeking work in Sandton. How do they come back and forth every day to do that? As you know, Bongani, South Africa has the highest data costs in Africa. A lot of work seeking happens online. It happens on, people literally going to different platforms to look for work. And so young people find themselves excluded. That's another massive barrier.
And that's
that
if,
young
of course,
people
they even
face.
have the devices that will plug them online to begin with.
And we found that young people, the penetration in terms of devices is quite high, but the data remains a massive, massive challenge. And I think you also need to look at networks. And this we know very well. Who do you know who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who can get you access? How do you find out about the opportunity in the first place, even to know to apply?
We're often told, I think it was earlier in the week, it may have been yesterday or the day before, one of our listeners sent us a voice note, and they run a filling station, a garage, as we say in South Africa. And they put out adverts to say they're looking for people to work as petrol attendants, and they received a deluge of applications. And so even when positions are advertised, the number of people who apply is usually significantly higher than the available positions.
Well, this is exactly it. If you just take an example of last year, we did a project, a massive project. It was a public employment program as part of the Department of Basic Education. So just wrap your mind around these numbers. We were assisting them to recruit and place for 205,000 positions. We had 17 million applications, and we had 17 million applications. And
well, how many jobs?
205,000. And credit to the Department of Basic Education for having this program that absorbs so many young people every year. And of those, 1.9 million were unique. So that tells you two things. One, to your point, just the sheer volume of people who are actively looking for work, but the other thing, and the size of and the scale of the challenge, but it also tells you that with the 1.9 unique applications, that made up the 17 million. So you've got 2 million young people that are just applying for everything over and over and over. So it really does show the scale of the problem.
We've just celebrated the class of 2025. Now, it used to be that you could leave school with a matric certificate. And of course, if you wanted to pursue more opportunities and, go on to university or some kind of vocational college, that was an option. But you could also actively look for work on the basis that you now had this matric certificate. Not that simple these days.
It's not that simple at all. And the reality is that the economy is not growing at the rate that we need it to. And as a result, job creation is not taking place as we need it to take place. But it's not just that. It's also the skilling. We talk about having a matric certificate, which does increase your chances of finding work, but only marginally because there's a skilling problem. We've got young people that are being skilled for jobs that are not jobs of the future or even current. So there's a skills mismatch.
Just explain that in some detail. What is it that young people are being skilled for that the market doesn't require?
So what we have is, what we've looked at as Harambee is we've kind of identified young people, one, want to go into university. And university is not the place for everyone, and meaning there's a lot of opportunity in self-employment, for example. There's a lot of opportunity in IRM, that's plumbing, those kind of industries. We've got TVET colleges, which are also doing a lot of work now to better match the actual skills that they're providing with what we need. So we've got tech, for example. That's very much future-looking industry. And so how do we grow it? There's a potential we've seen in our studies to employ thousands, hundreds of thousands of young people in that industry. So there's no point in somebody coming out of matric and they do a course, and it's sold to them often, but they do a course, a 3-week course on tech. But that tech is not teaching them what they require to actually, is it helping them with coding? Is it helping them with the skills? We have AI now that are going to enable them to work in those industries. Care industry is another one. How do we get young people interested and and
I'm just going to
really
ask you to
skilled-
stick a little closer to the microphone.
Sorry, and
Yeah, there you
really
go.
skilled in those kind of industries. The green economy. There's so much potential in the green economy, but young people need to know, and we need to. Tivet colleges, universities, short courses, training organizations.
Yeah.
We need to be skilling them in the right things.
You mentioned opportunities for self-employment.
Yeah. It's really, really important with the reality of the stagnant, not almost stagnant, we've seen some green shoots, but with the reality of the slow growth in terms of employment creation, job creation in the private
Right.
sector. We need young people looking at self-employment. We need them
Where would they begin?
So what we do at Harambee and through the SA Youth platform is starting to, one, advocate to release some of those barriers, like how do they get a bank, they can't even get a bank account so for some of these programs, you know? But the other thing is shifting a mindset and having young people understand that the concept of hustling, the concept of you are braiding hair, for example, you do it after school. How do we give you the skills and the knowledge to turn that
into a business?
Into a business, and other small things that young people, and this is, I know the minister didn't say lazy, but the one way I would describe young people is extremely resilient. During COVID, we saw young people losing jobs first and at a massive scale, but we also saw them selling things on the side of the road, all sorts of work that they created themselves.
I said earlier that, yes, he didn't use the word lazy, but the inference was clear. Do you think there is a disconnect between the rhetoric of policymakers and the reality of young people seeking work?
I think that there is a lot of work that is being done by government. I think where a lot of the disconnect comes, and there is a disconnect, but I think a lot of it comes from communication and understanding, one, within government itself, all of the amazing programs like SA Youth, which is part of the presidential, youth intervention that are taking place. And I think it's really about getting the older generation or employers, for example, getting everybody behind the concept of this is not something that can be fixed by young people. This is not something that can be fixed by employers. This is not something that can be fixed by government unless we all pull together and actually address this thing as the crisis and the challenge it is.
And certainly not blame the people who are most in need of help.
It's not useful.
Zengeziwe Msimang, appreciate your time. Chief Communications Officer at Harambee.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now.
Well, Bongs, we do have delays, especially on the N14 East. That accident in the Mildersdrift area still causing heavy traffic volumes towards Malibongo Drive. Speaking of Malibongo Drive, we've got another accident scene. It's on Witkoppen Road approaching Malibongo Drive turn-off in the Kayasend area. It's also causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more details coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Joburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until 12th February. Travel by 12th February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
EWN
Business news now. Muteo Khorepe. Northern Platinum reporting improved numbers as rising prices boost platinum group metals.
Yeah, Northern Platinum has reported a 3.7% increase in refined platinum for the 6 months ended in December. The miner has ramped up production at its Eland operation, and there was some strong performances as well at the firm's 2 other mines, the Zonderende and the Booysendal. This comes amid a significant surge in the platinum group metal sector driven by higher metal prices. Platinum has has gained about $1,400 per ounce since June last year, while rhodium at $10,000 an ounce has nearly doubled in value over the same period. Now, refined production totaled more than 467,000 ounces for the period. Shares in the company gained just over 5% in early trade yesterday, lifting Northam's gains over the last 6 months to nearly 100%. So if you've been invested over the past year, definitely a lot of gains for you there.
All right, is Total Energies exiting Nigeria?
Yeah, Total Energies is selling its 10% stake or share in Renaissance joint venture, a Nigerian oil and gas joint venture, to Varus. The deal includes 15 oil-producing licenses and 3 gas-producing licenses, with Total Energies retaining economic interest in the gas licenses, which supply 50% of Nigeria's LNG gas.
Your indicators?
Rand is 16 Rand 41 against the US dollar at this hour, still quite flat but gaining slowly at 19 Rand 10 cents against the euro, 22 Rand 3 cents against the British pound. Price of gold, $4,591 an ounce, or platinum at $2,312. Brent crude at $64.31 a barrel. More business after 8.
This Eyewitness News is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Swisa Zulu, the inclement weather in Limpopo not just affecting schools.
That's right, Bongani. It's also affecting airlines, and it remains unclear when flights in and out of Hoedspruit in Limpopo will resume after Airlink grounded operations due to the heavy rain. The airline says flights will only return once government and air traffic and navigation services declare it safe to do so. Airlink spokesperson Lyndon Burns says the carrier is working with sandparks and local lodges to assist stranded passengers.
Airlink is in constant liaison with all the relevant stakeholders and authorities, and as soon as they declare that it's safe for the airport to resume operations, then Airlink will restart flights as well.
The Department of Agriculture plans to spend at least 1.8 billion rand over the next 2 financial years to fund its mass vaccination campaign against foot and mouth disease. The department says it will have to rejig its spending priorities to fund the program. 2 million animals have been vaccinated over the last year as the outbreak ravages livestock farming in 5 provinces. Yesterday, Minister John Steenhuisen announced the first phase of a strategy that aims to reduce outbreaks by 70% in hotspot provinces within the next 12 months. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
South Africa lost its FMD-free status in 2019 after failing to keep up with local vaccine production. Minister John Steenhuisen says he can't undo the past and the decisions that led to production virtually grinding to a halt. Now he's looking to Argentina and Turkey, from which to import millions of doses of vaccines with the aim of reaching 80% of cattle populations within a year.
We're really calling on farmers and veterinarians not to use vaccines that do not come through the official channels, because you could end up essentially sparking a whole new FMD outbreak.
Director General Muketsa Ramasodi says there's no specific allocation in the departmental budget to fund the vaccination program.
The funds that we'll be utilizing will be funds that will come from the department through a reprioritization process.
Steenhuisen plans to approach Cabinet soon to declare the persistent outbreak of FMD a state of disaster, which could then unlock emergency funding for the vaccination drive. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Western Cape government has called on residents in Knysna to use 50 litres per day per person, as the coastal town has at least 10 days of water supply left. Local government MEC Anthony Bradell says 7 boreholes are being reactivated and an additional 7 will be drilled to increase water supply.
We need to get immediate water in when your main source got only water for 10 days. We've got hydrologists, we've got engineers in that area to look at bores because you need to get new water into the system.
And a crane at a highway construction site in Bangkok has collapsed, killing 2 people 1 day after another one fell on a train in Thailand where 32 people were killed. This morning's collapse happened outside a hotel with footage showing clouds of dust and rubble scattered across the site after the crane fell onto an elevated concrete structure. The Rama Expressway hosts several major infrastructure projects, including tollway constructions, which has several deadly accidents in recent years, earning it the nickname Death Road. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 14 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 30.
Traffic is backed up on the M1 South between the Baklu interchange and Marlborough Drive. There's also queuing traffic along the N3, both directions between Modderfontein Road and the Glutes interchange due to roadworks as well as peak time delays.
The top story this hour, flights in and out of Whiz in Limpopo will resume after Airlink grounded operations due to the heavy rains.
63-year-old Almero knows all about saving with Outsurance.
We do save 417 Rand. That's about 5,000 Rand a year.
That's an awesome saving on Almero's 2021 Ford Ranger.
And there's an out bonus that you get if you don't claim for 3 years. I am really looking forward to it.
How much money could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban, 690 Rand. Joburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand. And from Johannesburg to Cape Town, 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. Travel by the 12th of February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Hey, sorry for the voice note, but listen, I was there. I saw the receipt. Like, literally, that thing was long. It was giving scroll vibes and everything. Chomi, with this new Discount Better Rewards card, you get 10% off instantly. But like instantly on over 140 brands. So look, I don't want to be like dramatic or anything, but your discount till slip never looked better. Okay, bye.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. Another problem we have with high youth unemployment rate is the over-regulation of projects that needs to get off the ground. Our government has too many approval processes, EIAs, water use licenses, that complicates the whole process. And the technocrats in government, they are very conservative as enablers who should approve these projects. They don't approve the projects. Bazuka from Pretoria.
Good morning, Bongani. It's Hamilton. How will we get our young people employed when pensioners are still working? I mean, there is this other program, I don't know whether I'm calling it correctly, CPWP, if I'm mistaken. That program is still appointing pensioners. There are old people that are earning old age grant are working in that program. How shall we find young people employed when they are still working there? Help me understand that, Bongani.
Bongani and the team. You know, I for one agree with Uncle Kwete. Youth, I was unemployed, I was an intern. The last time I got a job was a contract for 1 year. After that, I kept applying, got no jobs. And yes, we apply, there's no jobs. And you need to move. I moved. With no capital, I started a business. And 8 years later, I'm still operating the business. Not successful, but operational. I grew up in the mines as well. We don't know this thing of striking, fighting for jobs, fighting for electricity. We know that you work for everything you get, every single little thing. And I, for one, not to be harsh, but I strongly agree. We need to wake up as the youth and do what we can. Can't keep applying when there's nothing to apply for.
Hi, Bongani. I didn't pick up inference to laziness with regards to Gweramakashe. What I picked up, perhaps it's inference to entitlement. I think he's saying that people are entitled and they expect things to come to them because of a progressive government. So maybe it's something we need to work on.
And that's why we thought perhaps better to have somebody who's been crunching the numbers, who's been looking at the unemployment crisis, rather than perhaps to focus too much on what Gwede did or did not say. The reality is many young people are without employment. It is a ticking time bomb. It does have implications for the success of our democracy. If young people are feeling left out, if they're feeling that there is no reason for a buy-in into this society, that is something we can ill afford.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance, a chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. So first, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Let's go to Brenda, who is in Dube. Brenda, please give us today's answer.
Morning, Bongani. The answer is Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey is Brenda's answer. 1,000 Rand is coming your way. Thank you, Brenda, for that answer. So there you have it. Brenda says the answer is Oprah Winfrey. Pray tell, what's the question? Call us if you know on 011 8830
EWN Sport.
All right, the AFCON final. The teams that have made it all the way.
Yeah.
Revealed last night.
Yeah.
The one game was more exciting than the other. The penalty shootouts. And there's something to be said about being the host nation. That always gives you something of an advantage, I think.
Some people will raise their eyebrows and say, wow, the host nation made it to the final of a tournament in football. But yes, the 2026 AFCON has been really entertaining. I can't believe it's come to the end. It felt like just the other day we were starting. But it'll be Senegal against the hosts, Morocco. I don't think Senegal will be too much of a surprise for many people. They beat Egypt last night. People still billing it as Mane against...
Salah. He wept. There were images of him in the dressing room.
I feel like he needed it.
Weeping.
I feel like Mo Salah needed it because he's been giving a rough time at Liverpool this season. But it is what it is. To quote great coach Peter Mosamani, the ball is round. The game is 90 minutes or more. And the team that gets the ball over the line wins. So, yeah, Senegal beating Egypt 1-0 last night. They're through to the final. Morocco needed penalties to beat Nigeria. We know Nigeria had a very tumultuous, they had a player strike, all of this kind of stuff leading into AFCON. So to make it that far is quite impressive.
Especially because they didn't qualify for the World Cup.
Right. So it'll be exciting. That'll be Sunday night. It'll be the hosts, Morocco against Senegal. Well, in the Carabao Cup in the UK as well, first leg of the first semi-final, Arsenal beating Chelsea 3-2. Arsenal's goals came from White, Gyökeres and Zubamendi. For Chelsea, they took on Nasho off the bench in the second half. He then scored both their goals. But here's Gyökeres.
Yeah, I think it was a tough game. We defended well. They were, as always, dangerous when they get counterattacks. But I think we defended well. And yeah, unfortunately we conceded 2. But I think offensively we scored 3. So yeah, we're happy with that.
All Blacks coach Scott Robertson has been fired 2 years into a 4-year contract after a review of the 2025 season done by New Zealand Rugby. Here's their chairman, David Kirk.
And following those discussions, we weren't convinced that the team was going to be back on track without changes. We had further discussions with the head coach and we mutually agreed that he would step down from his post. You know, I really have a great deal of respect for Scott Robertson. He has stepped down on the basis of what he believes and we believe is in the best interests of New Zealand rugby.
In SA20 cricket, Sunrisers Eastern Cape have gone top of the table after thrashing the Joburg Super Kings by 61 runs. Sunrisers posted 178 for 5, Coles with 61, de Kock with 54. Coles also took 2 wickets as the Super Kings were 117 all out with 2 overs to spare. And tonight, second on the table, Pretoria Capitals are hosting third on the table, Paul Royals. And at the Dakar Stage 10, South Africans Latachang and Cummins finished in 6th place. They're now second overall in the standings, 12 minutes behind the leaders. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 to 7, this EWN Traffic brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book now at flysaa.com. There are delays in Parktown.
That's correct, Bongani. Firstly, we've got an accident reported on Empire Road right near the M1 exit and is causing about a 15-minute hold-up coming out of Berry Herzog Avenue while traveling on the Mark 1 North in the same area. Delays towards Jan Smuts Avenue, about a 20-minute hold-up there. Peak time delays. If you are traveling in the Sandton area, do remember that traffic lights are out of order at the M1 and Greyston Drive, and they're also out of order in Marlborough Gardens at Marlborough Drive and Old Pretoria Road. Speaking of Marlborough Drive, delays on the M1 South coming out of the Baklu interchange towards the Marlborough Drive turn off, so please be on the lookout there and be patient along the roads. We'll have more updates for you. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Matric class of 2025 ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier with all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Johannesburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town 1,144 Rand. Plus, you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. And you have to travel by the 12th of February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question if today's answer is Oprah Winfrey. Let's go to Robbie, who's in Nelspruit. Robbie, what's the question?
What is the name of the American author who has a new book out called Enough, Your Health, Your Weight, What It's Like to Be Free?
She is an author, isn't she? Because this is not her first book that's out. Yes, indeed. More famous, I suppose, as the talk show host, Oprah Winfrey, media mogul, and so many other things, has this new book talking about these new weight loss drugs. That is absolutely the question. Robbie, tell me, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes.
2,000 Rand is coming your way, my man. All thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Congratulations. Now, you may be paying more for rates and taxes, but with Outsurance, you could be saving on your car insurance. Like 32-year-old Parushka, who saves an amazing 729 Rand on her 2020 Haval H2. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand. Or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Clement Manetella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
What's the plan with this 2,500 odd peoples that haven't been placed? What's going to happen to them?
No, our places have been temporary spaces because we're building new schools closer to them so that we can place them. So those new schools will be up latest end of February. But it does not mean when we place them in temporary schools, they are not going to be taught. They'll be taught in those particular schools. But remember, you can't say you are putting learners in a hall and say that is a space. So we have to build them schools. They need classrooms, as an example. So this is what we're doing.
Batume Chilwani, Gauteng Education MEC.
Clement Manetella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is street ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting, luxury.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. It's Madam from Bongfontein. Now you understand why when you deny something you did, they call it mantashed. So he mantashed everything that he said.
Hey, how's it, Bongs? How's it, 702 fam? It's Stephen here. There is so much to say about unemployment. And I completely agree. There's so many barriers to young people getting jobs. Part of it, though, is that the economy just isn't growing. And the economy isn't growing partly because businesses don't have confidence to invest. I mean, we see companies sometimes giving money back to shareholders rather than investing it in the company to make the company bigger, to make it more valuable. And they're doing that because there's no confidence. And there's no confidence, I'm afraid to say, because of comments like those made by Gwede Mantashe, which show, Minister, a sort of kind of illusion about the economy, a kind of lack of understanding about it. So much more to say. Anyway, more on the Money Show tonight, of course. Check you then. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to that discussion. Stephen Grootes, the host of The Money Show. But it also gives you the sense of leaders who've been in power for so long, right? That they're really out of touch in many respects with what ordinary folk experience and go through every day. These are leaders who, I don't know, when they need security upgrades, they've got friends in high places who can make them happen. When they need security upgrades, say on their rural properties in the Eastern Cape, they don't have to sit there and budget and plan and scrape and claw for every single cent to make sure that things are, they're able to sacrifice, they're able to set monies aside. That's the reality for most South Africans who think about the transport money to get them to that interview, who think about data costs to be able to have those job applications filled in on time and sent to where they need to be. But also, we haven't had enough of a conversation about how young people can use even the skills they already have to be able to create their own opportunities. Those are some of the conversations that I think we ought to be having instead of blaming the people who find themselves in crisis.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Pele.
It's time to leave. I had a chuckle at this one.
I did too. So, when you host people at your house, it's a great thing. It's wonderful. And then maybe the time in the evening comes where you're tired because you've been hosting and it's hard work. But some people don't know when to leave. They'll just care and have a good time. And you're sitting there thinking, I just wish I could go to bed now. It's been a long day. But they're still there having drinks and having a good time. So you may have a little way of which you can signal to people that it's the end of the night and it's time to leave.
Do you want to know what my trick is? So this
video that we're talking about, this guy, he gets in his robe. He's
whoa,
down.
Kabazela, hold on. You didn't hear me there. I said, do you want to know what my trick is?
No, sorry. My studio feed here is terrible. I can't really hear much, so I'm trying my best here. But what's your trick there, Bongles?
I tell you to leave.
Straight out, you just say it's time to go.
It's time to go.
I suppose if it's your tight mates, you could say, look, it's time to go. But maybe when you invite others, maybe
especially if it's not my tight mates, I tell you it's time to leave.
So this guy's trick, he walks into the kitchen and he's wearing his gown. And that's the kind of way that he signals that it's, time for bed and all of you better get out of here. But some of the comments that people have posted on this video, some people say that their grandmom would say, let's all say a little prayer together before you go. Imagine that, ending the night with a prayer. Another person says that their dad just gets the vacuum out and starts vacuuming in the middle of the kitchen and the lounge. So what's your way, if you're not like Bongles, where you just say directly, come guys, time to go. What's your little subtle hint to tell people it's time to wrap up the night?
Hambani, 8. Go home. Look, I do always have the excuse, particularly, of course, if it's on a weeknight, that I have to get up early. And even over weekends, because my body clock now is so tuned into going to bed at a certain time that all my friends and people who come to my house know that at a certain point, it is time to leave, and I'm not shy to say. All right, let's talk about real luxuries in life, Kabazela.
Yeah, real luxuries in life. So this was quite an interesting list that somebody had posted on X, and we're not talking about like having an amazing home and driving an amazing car and all those kind of things, but these are maybe the simple luxuries, if you could put it that way. So I'll just give you maybe the top 5 here. So the guy says living 10 minutes from work, living 5 minutes from the gym, having quiet neighbors, having money left at the end of the month and investing it, and peace at home. Now, there's many, many others here that he's listed, but I wanted to put out to our 702 family, what do you think those real luxuries in life are?
Gosh, I think health is
Yeah.
certainly a very, very precious luxury that we can take for granted until you don't have it. I think good relationships, particularly with one's family, one's children, one's parents, one's siblings. If you have a good relationship with the near and dear in your life, that is a real luxury. Getting along with your colleagues. These are the people you spend most of your day with, most of your year with. And if you don't get along with your colleagues, it's a real, real challenge. And so to be able to say that you do get along with your colleagues is a real luxury. Those would be on my list. Let's hear some of yours. That's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
702.
702.
Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile Sambo, what are your real life luxuries?
Kabazela mentioned that when you have that extra money left in your bank account at the end of the month, that that extra, and then you can invest it. I think that's a luxury. I'm not investing it. It's a bonus for myself. Like, I am celebrating that. It's a real luxury for me.
Luxuries that don't have to do with money. What would some
getting
of those
along
be?
with your colleagues, I think it's also one of those things. Health as well.
You're just repeating mine.
Yes, because they are the luxuries that I also want. Why? Why you want to have them for yourself? Oh my gosh. Anyway, Bongani, we've been getting several reactions following our discussion on the struggle of looking for a job, finding a job, and the unemployment rate. 702 lenders are asking the government to lower their retirement age from 60 to 65 to the magic number 50 to 55 so that young people can get jobs. Elizabeth sent us this voice note. This is what she has
Good morning, Bongani. The only solution, I think, is government to reduce pension age. If you can say people retire from 55, we're opening gates for the youngster to come in. Yes.
So then we'll have unemployed middle-aged people and unemployed young people.
Give the people a chance. That's what they're saying. The 702 lenders are saying that they must move from the seats so that the young people can come in and occupy those seats.
No.
Other reaction, Bongani?
Listen, I'm an over 50. Maybe it's personal for me.
That's why I didn't want to go there. I'm like, let's...
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think as that voice note we got from Stephen Curtis, the point is we need an economy that is growing. We need a government that supports the private sector to be able to do business, to be able to invest. We need certainty around policies, around what the future looks like. I think we had a couple of other voice notes that suggested barriers for business and doing business and the ease of doing business in South Africa. We need all of those things to go away. There's an interesting piece in the Business Day today from the veteran journalist Peter Bruce, who talks about how some of the rules we have placed supposedly to get the economy growing actually get in our way. And he talks about part of Eskom's recovery was getting rid of some of those rules because Eskom was in a crisis. And then he asks the question, if that's what we do when we are in crisis, you've got to ask the question, do these rules work in general in any case? I think those are some of the wider conversations we need to be having, and not telling people who are middle-aged, who are at a point in their lives where they really need that employment, to go and sit at home and twiddle their thumbs.
And also, there's a 25-year-old on our WhatsApp called Aliyah. She said that she's been applying for jobs. This year alone, in January, she's applied to over 185 jobs. And even with 2 degrees and 1 experience of work, she has only received rejection emails. So I thought maybe it would be good just...
She's got 2 degrees.
2 degrees, 1 year experience.
And it's the 15th of January.
186 applications.
She's already applied for 100. And again, I think that also speaks to what Zengezwe was saying a little earlier on around that mismatch between, yes, you may have your skills, you may have your degrees, but is it necessarily what the market wants?
And needs.
And that mismatch, and how we need to be thinking about the holistic approach around what we train our young people for, what we skill them for, and the jobs of the present, and indeed even the jobs of the future. Keep your responses coming on 011-883-0702. We'll take your WhatsApp voice notes on 072-702-1702.
This is EWN.
Dumsani Khumalo heads to Parliament to answer questions about alleged police corruption and a slow start of voting in Uganda as security is intensified. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Head of Crime Intelligence Dumsani Khumalo will take the hot seat today when Parliament's ad hoc committee continues its hearings into allegations of police corruption and interference. Khumalo is expected to give testimony for the next 2 days and will take MPs through evidence involving allegations of sabotage and interference, as well as Minister Sinzo Mchunu's decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team, which was headed by Khumalo. His testimony follows that of former Acting National Commissioner Khomoso Phahlane yesterday, who told the MPs about a plot to have him removed, as well as political interference and rogue units within the criminal justice system. Babalo Ndenza reports.
Dumsani Khumalo has already made 2 appearances before the Matlala Commission, where he told commissioners about efforts to derail certain investigations involving the criminal underworld. He also testified about unlawful appointment of officials, a matter which led to his own arrest by the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption in June last year. Khumalo also revealed details of the so-called Big Five organized crime syndicate that he said has infiltrated the police. He told the Matlala Commission that he is in possession of evidence of various payments implicating Minister on Special Leave, Sinzo Mchunu.
And in particular for the benefit of delegates of such event who are apparently linked to the Minister Mchunu through the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, in the office of the Minister.
Khumalo can also expect questions from the evidence leader and MPs on his relationship with KZN Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and his arrest by IDAC last year. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The attorney of the man arrested in connection with the murder of media personality Warwick Stock has requested CCTV footage of the attack to be brought to court. Dumsani Mabunda yesterday made the request in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court, where he's representing Soweto taxi boss Victor Majola. Majola was arrested for allegedly orchestrating the murder of DJ Waras last month in the Joburg CBD. Oren Singh reports.
A debate on the CCTV footage showing the moments leading up to the murder of Warwick Stock, aka DJ Waras, will continue to be argued before the Joburg Magistrates Court today. Dumisani Mabunda, representing Soweto taxi boss Victor Majola, has urged the court to compel the state to provide the footage. This after the investigating officer in the case, A.B. Montwedi, alleged that Majola is seen in the footage together with the unidentified gunman loitering around Von Willig Street in Joburg CBD about 45 minutes before Stock is gunned down. Mabunda demands it be brought to court.
This accused has all the rights to challenge that particular evidence. So on that basis, we require this video footage. I'm shocked. All along, they're confidently saying that they have a video footage. Now we need the video footage. It's a story after story.
The matter will resume this morning. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
And voters have started slowly heading to polling stations in Uganda this morning as the country votes. President Yoweri Museveni seeks to extend his 40-year rule amid an internet shutdown and police crackdown on the opposition. While voting is yet to start in other locations, the capital Kampala had one station opened at 7 o'clock this morning. Many people in Kampala are nervous as security forces beef up their presence for Election Day in case of unrest that have been marred by similar cases in previous elections. Citizens have been advised to secure their doors and windows and designate a safe room in case of unrest. Gold is trading at $4,539.69 an ounce. The rand is at 16.42 to the dollar, 22.05 to the pound, 19.11 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.37 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the N1 South. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. There's also queuing traffic along the Mike 1 North between Corlett Drive and Grayston Drive. Do remember that the traffic lights are out of order at Grayston and Sandton Drive, and that's why we've got that long backup.
And in your sport, New Zealand Rugby axes All Blacks head coach Scott Robertson. AFCON final on Sunday night will be the hosts Morocco up against Senegal. And in the SA20 cricket later, second on the table Pretoria Capitals taking on third on the table Paul Royals.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Head of Crime Intelligence, Dumsani Khumalo, will take the hot seat today when Parliament's ad hoc committee continues its hearings into allegations of police corruption and interference.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Kabazela wants to know those subtle things you do to let your guests know it's time to leave. And have or do people pick up on those hints that it's time to go? Or are you more direct? Are you one of those who starts grabbing glasses, who starts cleaning, who puts on a gown, maybe your curlers? What are those things that people sleep with?
The bonnets.
The bonnets, right? Is that what you start doing? Telling them you need to go wash your face and wash your makeup off? Or are you like me? I prefer to be direct. I'd be far more offended if you start cleaning and performing.
I mean, with your friends, you're more likely to be direct, to say, "Hi guys, that's it, let's call it."
Even more so if you're not my friends. Because the fact that you even came to the house.
Yeah, I want to hang around a bit more.
You are not my friend and you're somehow at my house. And now you're overstaying your welcome. The very first time you come.
What do you say? Get out.
Go. I mean, I'll be nice, but I'll be direct. Good, guys, it's time. I want to go to bed. Go.
But I'm having fun. I'm having fun. You can go to bed. I'm having fun in your house.
No. Guys, real luxuries in life. We're not talking about money. Guys, you get to a point. I'm 51. Can I tell you what a real luxury is? A good night's sleep.
That's true.
A good night's sleep where you don't have to wake up and go to the loo. Where not every sound that you hear wakes you up.
Do you have soundproofing in your room?
Yo, guys. Good night's sleep. Real luxury.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Keeping an eye, of course, on developments in Parliament yesterday, the former acting National Police Commissioner General Khumudzo Phahlane was talking to MPs, particularly about his labor grievances and the fact that he was fired not by the president, he says, but by then Police Minister Fikile Mbalula. 2 MPs yesterday would have none of it, and they complained about where the general was taking the ad hoc committee, saying it had nothing to do with the terms of reference. And it was quite interesting to see, and it's been interesting to observe how it is, in fact, MPs on very opposite sides of the political spectrum who often agree when it comes to these things. Have a listen to the DA's Glynis Breitenbach saying, "We're not here to hear this man's labor grievances. We're here to get to the bottom of the heart of Mkhwanazi's allegations."
Thank you, Chair. Chair, with respect, Mr. Phahlane is now, just sure how to put it, talking constantly about prosecuting his own labor-related issues. It's got nothing to do with the terms of reference of this committee. Completely.
That was Glynis Breitenbach yesterday. And guess who agreed with her? The EFF's Julius Malema.
No, thanks, Chair. I think the Chief Whip dealt with it and the Honorable Breitenbach. If we were to calculate how much we made from 9 until now working for Parliament, it will not be worth it. You're actually going to eat people's money for nothing.
We're actually going to eat people's money for nothing. Did you watch? Did you follow proceedings? What were your thoughts?
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Amo, when it's time to leave, what do you say in your home?
What do I say?
You ask your husband to do it.
No, because he never does. He likes having people over, and there's never a limit.
Oh, so you're the one who chases everyone
Yeah,
away.
I'm the one who's like, okay, well, let me start packing up, or do you want to help with the dishes, or because I mean, obviously, if you have guests over, there'll be dishes that are piling up because you don't want to be rude washing the dishes while you're still having a conversation. So I'll start making conversation along those routes. Or what time do you usually go to bed?
So you hint. And do people pick up on the hints?
No, sometimes they don't.
And you just have to
arrange for sleeping areas for them. You'll sleep in
this room or that room.
Or come out with blankets.
And then you go to bed.
And then I go to bed.
And leave them there.
Because I can't host anymore.
That struggle you put yourself through. Mutel?
We have to agree very early on if you're sleeping over. I have to know that very early. Like, you know what? I'm not leaving sharp. Unless, you have too much and then obviously you have to sleep over. But otherwise, it's very direct, especially with my friends that I say, Vala Bafana, let's call it, But also this job has made it quite easy, especially midweek to say.
With these hours, right?
Well, you guys all know I have to be up.
Look at the time.
Exactly.
Good morning, Bongani. There's no silver bullet when it comes to telling people that it's time to leave. Normally, for me, what I do, I just tell them that, hey, I've got a early day tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna go to sleep. But some people won't get it. You tell them that, then they'll tell you that for you next up meal. So what do? Because you can't say you can't go to sleep and leave them sitting in the guest room like watching TV. So it depends on the person who's visiting you. If they are hard-headed, then it's tough. You're just gonna have to wait for them up until they leave.
Morning, Bongani and the team is Veronica from Spraidview. With me, if I want to get rid of the visitors, I start preparing lunch boxes for them, or skaftin. I'll be asking them, come and prepare your skaftin, and they know that it's time to go. Yeah, that's what I do. Thank you, bye-bye.
That assumes you've got enough leftovers. If you know some of the visitors that come to my house, that's a very rare situation, right? We're going to polish everything. So what happens if there's no food left over to pack into those skaftins? Here's my thing. If people are your friends, tell them directly. No harm, no foul. It's really that simple.
Oshelan.
Hambani. Don't you have homes?
Why are you chasing us out? We came to see you.
Do you know what I mean? Yes, you have Hambani. Do you know what I mean? And it ought to be as simple as that. But I suppose it's a real luxury to have friends that you can be that direct with. Talking of that, that's the other question Kabazela wants to know. What are the real luxuries in your life besides lots of money? I've mentioned health. I've mentioned sleep at my age. A night where you can go to sleep and sleep your 7 or 8 hours without having to go to the bathroom. That's a real luxury.
It is. For me, it definitely has to be seeing my children go to school and seeing them come back. I mean, with the job that I do, I can't have them both. I can't have, I can't drop off and pick up. You can only have one.
You know what a real luxury is? Is having conversations with your kids where they get surprised how much they've told you about their lives, about their social lives, about their interactions with their friends, and the pleasure that you've actually been listening.
And you remember some of the details.
Yeah, that's a real luxury.
Yeah.
Mutel?
I think time to yourself.
Woo! Say it again.
That is a luxury.
Say it again.
I don't think we realize
Preach, brother.
Just how much time we give to things, to people, to routines, but never really to ourselves. So I think portioning off that time is really, really a luxury.
Just be able to watch a series.
I don't want anyone to say anything to me. I just want to be by myself.
Dad?
EWN traffic.
The CW in Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university. So why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Bongani, several roads around the Baklu interchange are heavily backed up. Routes like the N1 north towards Allendale Road, the M1 south out of the Baklu towards Marlborough Drive, as well as the N1 south towards Rivonia Road. Peak time delays there, so please be on the lookout and continue driving with care. Do expect about a 20-minute hold up altogether. If you are traveling in the Linksfield area, we do have roadworks taking place along the N3 north approaching Modderfontein Road. Delays from Linksfield Road, and there's also queuing traffic on the M2 west. This is between Heidelberg Road and the Crown interchange. About a 15-minute hold up there. Please be on the lookout and be patient. And if you come across anything else, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares, Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, Joburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February, and you have to travel by the 12th of February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
16 minutes after 8 o'clock. On to this now. We're looking at a new South African health tech solution that's making it easier for families to stay on top of their medical information without the stress of paperwork or lost file. Take something as simple as your children's health records. Do you have track of all the vaccinations the little ones need and have received? You move house, you change jobs, there's a bit of turmoil in your life, and you can't remember where you put those important documents. Imagine a digital solution that allows you to have it wherever you are and to be able to access it wherever you need it. Ajuda is a free digital health vault that lets you do just that. We've got Christine Myberg, who is Ajuda's business development manager, to talk to us about this homegrown solution. Christine, a very good morning to you and welcome to 7:02 Breakfast.
Good morning, Bongani. I am delighted to talk to you this morning and thank you for that wonderful intro.
All right, talk to us about Ajuda Health and the problem that you are solving.
So, Bongani, Ajuda Health was founded by Dr. Lisa Street, a pediatrician, and she was based in Sandton. And she grew increasingly frustrated in her practice because time and time again, she would ask parents for their children's medical records, their blood results, their MRI scans, and the answer was always the same: we don't have it, the doctor has it. So Dr. Street believes that this is fundamentally wrong. Every parent, every patient should have access to their own medical data. Driven by this conviction, she created Ajuda Health. It is a secure digital health platform that empowers individuals to take control of their health journey. It centralizes medical records, solving the problem of fragmentation that plagues modern healthcare. So now there will be no more scattered files, forgotten results, or inaccessible data. Bongani, it is a seamless, secure access to all your health info. It is built on the belief that health ownership should be simple, private, and empowering.
You know, for me, one of the best ways to know something is going to work, it is when you solve a problem I didn't even know I had. And as you are outlining it, I'm beginning to see, forget as a parent, just as a patient, we don't always have access to those records. You go for blood tests or whatever, and they typically stay with the healthcare provider. So how do I then, as a user, access those records and then upload them to Ajuda?
Yes, absolutely, Bongani. So it's really simple. You go to ajuda.co.za, you sign up for free, you create a secure profile, and you start uploading your medical records, all your blood tests, your scans, your prescriptions. Everything is stored in one place and it's accessible anytime from any device. You can share results with your healthcare team, your school, or your family. We also have a one-time form feature which lets you fill out your medical history and info once, and then you can reuse it across providers, saving time and reducing errors. So, for example, if you have a doctor's appointment tomorrow,
Yeah.
you send them a one-time form before you go. So when you get there, they have all your information and there's no more filling in forms.
Oh, wow. And the school screening program, how does that work?
So this is one of our most exciting initiatives. We partner with schools to offer dental, vision, and hearing screenings. The process is completely digital and effortless for the school. So all they do is they send out a digital consent form, which we provide, and Ajuda handles the rest.
And how do parents receive the results?
So parents will get a link via email that will take them to their child's secure vault on Ajuda. So there's also an option to download a PDF version of the results for printing or sharing. It's incredibly convenient.
And of course, I'd imagine this doesn't just have benefit to parents or patients, but even the healthcare providers themselves.
Yes, so the healthcare providers are thrilled because they don't have to manage the paper forms. They don't need to worry about storing results. Everything is securely stored on Ajuda and they can access it anytime. It is streamlined, it's accurate, and it's compliant with data protection laws. And they also, the feedback we've been getting is they can also screen a lot more children in less time.
I'm just picking up on that compliance with data protection laws.
Yeah.
Popia, for example, is quite specific about how information about private individuals may be disseminated.
Absolutely. So yeah, we take privacy seriously. Working with people's medical records, we have to. So Ajuda is fully compliant with South Africa's POPI regulations, and all the data is encrypted and stored securely, so users control who sees their information. So you, as the patient, chooses who to share your info with.
Where do I get it?
Yeah, like
Sold.
I said, go onto our website and just sign up for free, Bongani.
Give me the website details.
So it's just ajuda.co.za.
Ajuda being AJUDA.
UDA. Yes, perfect.
All right, so go to ajuda.co.za. It sounds like a fantastic homegrown solution, being able to store all your medical and health records in one space, allowing healthcare providers or anybody who needs access to that information to have it securely at really at your fingertips. Appreciate your time. Christine Myberg is Ajuda's Business Development Manager.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
The Freedom Front Plus has been calling foot and mouth outbreak to be declared a national disaster. Dr. Boshoff, what is your reaction to what the minister has had to say in this briefing?
We are glad that he's approaching the cabinet for declaring the disaster state that we asked for, because this is not the kind of challenge that the industry can shoulder on its own. That's a kind of thing that should have really started to have attention, say, 2 or 3 years ago.
Dr. Van Boshoff, FF Plus MP.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
It was actually a flawless process.
It definitely pays to switch.
I wish we had done it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. For beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurance FSP. TCs and information online.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving. At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
It's the new year, and Peter is still looking for a university.
Why is this so hard?
And now that he's running out of time, he's not looking at the right things.
Wait, I'm not?
You see, where most universities sell you on what you'll do at university, Emrys focuses on what you'll be able to do when you leave university.
Well, that changes everything.
With a high-performance tertiary education from Emrys, you'll be able to make a mark in the working world from day one.
And I can still register?
Yes. Register today at emrys.ac.za. Emrys is an educational brand of the Independent Institute of Education.
702. The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
24 minutes after 8 o'clock, let's catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. Adam, this exchange of threats between Iran and the US, this is gaining some momentum.
It is up to a point, yes, because we don't quite know where we are with it. Because, yes, certainly the United States has threatened, through Donald Trump, has threatened military action and, as they put it, help is on its way to the protesters if the Iranian crackdown against anti-government protesters continues, if they start putting to death some of the protesters who've been jailed. Now we understand, through Donald Trump, as he put it, he has it on good authority, they have stopped killing protesters and they're not about to start hanging protesters. 3,000 have already lost their lives, by the way. So does that mean, therefore, that that is off the table, that American help, in inverted commas, is off the table? They removed personnel from the Al Udeid air base in Qatar. Indeed, British forces also partially withdrew from the air base in Qatar. Oman, likewise. So American bases in the Middle East have downscaled and on high alert as well, because last June they downscaled their personnel and removed people from key areas just before America struck those nuclear sites in Iran. So I had that feeling that this was what was building, but it's difficult to tell now if it's still on the table. And of course, in the reverse way, if Iran were to hit first, there'd certainly be retaliation. But if America doesn't hit, does that then just take all the heat out of the situation, albeit not for the protesters who are out on the streets in Tehran, etc.?
And of course, if America does hit, how easily would that turn the protesters back to the side of their own government? It's a complicated one.
Potentially, yeah.
Talking of threats via Donald Trump, no agreement on Greenland.
Do you know what? They came out, the foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland, looking really quite grim, look grim-faced. You know, when a meeting hasn't gone particularly well, I think Volodymyr Zelensky, after his first trip to the White House, they looked a bit like that, except there was some diplomatic language. Lars Rasmussen, the Danish foreign minister, certainly talked very diplomatically about how the Americans have one view, we have another, we have a difference of opinion over the future of Greenland, we believe that it should stay as it is. And to some extent, the argument is really difficult. I mean, the American argument / Donald Trump's argument is a really difficult one to pursue, that somehow Greenland would be taken by China or Russia and Denmark couldn't do anything to stop them unless America takes it first. Thinking, well, Greenland is part of Denmark, which is part of NATO. So presumably, if Russia or China pitched up, we're all meant to rally round anyway. I don't think anyone's yet explained what it's like being an ally or a friend. I don't know if Donald Trump has that in his dictionary. The point is, though, at this stage, they are still rubbing each other up really badly. And it seems extraordinary that if things are downscaling in Iran, they're still upscaling over Greenland. It's a very odd world, isn't it?
Not least because, as the Danes have said, America has full access to Greenland to have bases there. And it was they who decided to downscale and close some of them. Talking of diplomacy, Adam, tell me about the surreal moment.
I wonder if this could be the future of diplomacy and geopolitical coming together. So we had a surreal drum duet between two East Asian world leaders. So this has set the internet abuzz. The videos out there, they wore matching blue kind of boy band jackets. The South Korean President Lee Jae-myung and Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi played drums together to the beats of K-pop hits, including Dynamite by BTS. And BTS are back with a new album. Yay! The Japanese Prime Minister used to be a drummer in a heavy metal band, so she kind of knew what she was doing. The South Korean president looked a little clumsy, sounded a little clumsy, but do you know what? They were doing it together. They were slapping their skins and whacking their tubs in unison, just as a way of showing that, you know what, we've had some meetings and we're on side with each other. I'm just thinking, get Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky together on a set of drums and have Vladimir Putin on the tambourine at the back, and we could sort it all out, couldn't we?
Who'd be the little drummer boy in that story? Adam Gilchrist, we'll leave it there for today's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Marching to the beat of his own drum is Muteo Haripe here with our final business report of the morning. The Competition Commission, Muteo, it wants to probe interest rates. At least their probe into interest rates is at an advanced stage.
Yeah, the country's competition watchdog has confirmed that its investigation into possible cartel behavior related to the prime lending rate is almost wrapped up. Now, according to News 24, the commission is looking into whether local banks colluded to manipulate the market. Of course, banks use the prime lending rate to determine the rates they'll charge consumers on home loan, car financing and cash loan repayments. The South African Reserve Bank says it's also assessing the relevance of the prime lending rate. The measure has been fixed at 350 basis points above the country's monetary policy rate since 2001. Now, the SARB could either scrap the rate or narrow the gap between the repo rate and the prime lending rate. Currently, the repo rate is at 6.75% with the prime lending rate at 10.25%.
All right, your indicators?
The rand at this hour still looking good against the dollar, 16 rand 42, 19 rand 10 cents against the euro, and you'll need 22 rand 5 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold, $4,606 an ounce, or platinum is at $2,322. Brent crude at $64.43 a barrel. Stephen Grotes with more this afternoon.
Time now exactly 8:30. Let's go straight to the news desk and the return of Helen Zille, Swisa Zulu.
That's right, Bongani. This is in Joburg, where the DA's mayoral candidate, Helen Zille, is expected to be sworn in as a PR councillor in the metro. The DA in Johannesburg has told EWN it's in the process of shuffling its councillor candidate list, with Zille likely to take the top spot if a vacancy does open. While Zille's political career was largely been focused in the Western Cape, where she was the provincial premier and mayor of Cape Town, the 74-year-old politician was born and raised in Johannesburg. Tabiso Goba takes a look.
The DA in Johannesburg will be hoping to have an open vacancy for a PR councillor soon. One of his PR councillors, Bia Campbell-Klutz, is the party's candidate for the upcoming by-election in Johannesburg Ward 102. This is considered a safe DA seat, with the party having won the ward in all elections dating back to the year 2000. The DA's regional chairperson, Wendy Alexander, says Helen Zille is one of the names considered for a potential PR seat vacancy.
We have a standing list that sits with the IEC. So should a vacancy occur, then we would take the next person on the list to fill those vacancies. So we are in the process of updating that list for the remainder of this political term.
The by-election for Johannesburg's Ward 102 will take place on the 25th of February. Sokoba, Eyewitness News.
The government in Limpopo says it's stepping up response to severe flooding after a late-night emergency meeting. The meeting included the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs as authorities look to coordinate relief, rescue and recovery efforts. Heavy rain and widespread flood damage continues to disrupt daily life in the province. Mongezi Koko is there.
Provincial officials say the engagement focused on assessing the extent of the damage and exploring ways to secure emergency funding and support from national government. The flooding has left roads and bridges submerged, communities cut off and schools and hard-hit districts closed with learners unable to return. Kokta MEC Basikopo Makamu.
So all our teams, your Department of Public Work, your SAPS, your Social Development, the job in the province, in fact, was made aware and ready to be able to deal. Hence, we were able to rescue other people because our teams were already in place.
The provincial government says the involvement of National COCTA is aimed at fast-tracking interventions as weather conditions remain unstable and the risk to life persists. Mungi Ziko, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
And Ukraine has declared a state of emergency in the country's energy sector, with a particular focus on Kyiv as ongoing Russian strikes continue to leave thousands of residents without power. President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of deliberately exploiting the harsh winter conditions as part of its war strategy, with overnight temperatures in Kyiv recently dropping to around 20 degrees Celsius. The declaration comes as Zelensky's U.S. counterpart Donald Trump says he was holding up efforts to secure a peace deal to end nearly 4 years of war with Russia. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 30.
There's a queuing traffic on the N1 North. This is between Bears-Nadia Drive and Malibongo Drive. Please be on the lookout there. About a 15-minute hold-up. If you are traveling on the M1 South, we still have got heavy traffic volumes. This is between the Baklu interchange all the way towards College Drive. And do remember that traffic lights are out of order at the M1 and Grayston Drive. That's in the Sandton area, causing some issues there.
The top story this hour, the DA's mayoral candidate for Johannesburg, Helen Ziller, is expected to be sworn in as a PR councillor in the metro.
Let's hear from Dr. Amand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer FSP. TCs and information online.
This festive season, the Department of Transport is appealing to all drivers, passengers and pedestrians. Obey the rules of the road and ensure your vehicle is roadworthy. In the past few days alone, over 2,500 vehicles stopped at roadblocks were found with worn-out tires. Tires in poor condition are extremely dangerous, especially at high speeds, where a blowout can cause fatal crashes. Drivers, please check your vehicles before you travel. Brought to you by the Department of Transport, moving South Africa forward.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
A real luxury is having a mother as an adult who still, is able to sort of like take care of you and help you, even financially sometimes. So that's really a luxury.
Good morning, Mr. Bingwa. With me, when it comes to visitors, I think it depends on which part of the house we're in. So if we are sitting outside, I just ninja and I just leave them there. But if we are indoors, I start making them feel uncomfortable. I tell them we need to move this party outside so that by the time we are all outside, I can just move back into the house and just sleep. And they will see themselves out. A label from Ferrienaching.
Morning, Bongani. This is Anne, just like you. If it comes to the time where I need to go and sleep, my time with my family, it's time, guys. We'll see each other again next time. Can you all just go to our houses? Thanks.
Good morning, Bongani. I totally understand asking your guests to leave because you want to go sleep. Have you tried get your girlfriend to leave your house after she spent a few days at your place? Ooh, that is the most awkward conversation. I'm like, go to your house. I want my space back. Oh, check 10 mid-range.
It has to be the voice note of the morning. Now that is an infinitely harder thing to do, right? You can tell your friends it's time to go. Hey, your significant other. That's not so easy. Yeah, that's not so good luck. I feel you. I feel you. You obviously also don't want to be the partner who doesn't know when to leave, right? You can tell your friends, you can tell your guests, it's time to go to bed. Straight talk breaks no friendship, as they say. But telling your significant other that it's been a few days now. Are we moving in together? What's the story? That is a much, much harder job.
We've got a friend. We just don't invite her anymore because she does not know when to go home. We even say to her, it's time to go to bed, and she will follow us. And my husband will go and shower and get in bed, and then I will go and shower and get in bed, and she just comes and sit with us on the bed. She does not know when to go home.
Morning, guys. Well, I've got a father-in-law who just stands up and starts turning off the lights in the house. That one works very well in terms of getting people out. And we have the luxury of staying in a complex, so you can just say, did I give you the exit code?
I don't know why we have to jump through all these hoops. I'd be far more offended if you just start switching off lights and carrying on. Just tell me it's time to go. It's fine. You know,
Not
tell me to call
everyone
my
is
Uber.
straightforward.
Tell me to call my Uber. Tell me it's time to go. But the whole performance and no, right? The friend who comes into your bedroom, hi. That is definitely not a friend you want over. Cindy, you can be a straight shooter at times. How do you get rid of guests when it's time to go?
You don't host. If you're not willing to have people stay for as long as they want, then don't host. But I generally take it as the earlier an event starts, the earlier they would like you to leave.
Yes.
So read the room.
So what if somebody's failing to read the room? You've just got to grin and bear it?
Yes. Because you're hosting. You said,
hi.
please come to my house.
Now it's time to go from my
no.
house. Now it's time to leave my house.
No.
Thank you I mean, obviously you'll say it in a nice way. You're not going to say, go away.
What are you
in
gonna
a
say?
rude way. I'm tired. Guys, I've got a really early morning tomorrow. Whatever the reason, these are your friends. These are people who presumably like you. Presumably they enjoy being in your company. And let's just be honest with each other. I can't, I've run out. My social battery is depleted. Go home. Leave. Hamba. 8.
EWN Sport.
Just in a very, very nice way.
I'm sure.
Isn't that what New Zealand have done?
Yeah. Let's review the evening.
They said it's time to go.
Yeah, New Zealand Rugby did a review of the All Blacks 2025 season, and as a result, they've decided to part ways with head coach Scott Robertson. Robertson, who still had 2 years on his contract, recorded 10 wins out of the 13 tests in 2025, but one of those 3 losses was that record 43-10 loss to the Springboks. New Zealand Rugby chairman David Kirk says inconsistencies and the high penalty count, lack of momentum in the third quarter of games were the main problems.
The view of the high performance team and of us generally was that the All Blacks are not on track in the way that we need them to be on track for the 2027 World Cup, and indeed for what will be a very demanding year in 2026 with the 4 matches against South Africa in rugby's greatest rivalry.
Yeah. That is such a high standard. I mean, I remember I was away for some fellowship I'm a part of, and we had to disrupt class to watch a New Zealand game with the Springboks that we lost last year. And 10 out of 13 games. And because of that record loss to the Springboks, who are arguably one of the best teams that has ever played the game at the moment, jeepers, that's a tough standard.
It is one. The game you're thinking about is, it literally was. It was New Zealand beat South Africa 24-17.
Yeah.
And then 1 week later, we came back and we beat them 43-10. So I think the problem there, also in New Zealand, I think the problem there would be, hang on, how do you coach a team that beats the Springboks by 7 and then the following week loses by 33 at home?
It's the Springboks.
But then what did you not do to stop them from coming back? Because it's okay. So fine, it's the Springboks.
So I want
no. Wait. You asked me. So it is the Springboks.
Yeah.
But then why do we as New Zealand Rugby not have what the Springboks have to do that, to keep it up for the next level? So you could sit here and you could say, yes, but it's the Springboks and they came back in the second match and they changed things. Why weren't our players equipped for that onslaught? Because that was an onslaught.
We have had, I mean, if you watched, and you and I have had conversations about watching Chasing the Sun, and losing to New Zealand for the Boks obviously hurts. But I would understand it if perhaps they'd lost both games, right, in New Zealand, perhaps then. But any coach that has won 10 out of 13 and gets fired, jeepers, that's a tall ask.
So you also have to understand the history and the culture of rugby in New Zealand, right? Yeah. So the only thing that we have the children are literally, from the moment they're young, they are just, I want to play for the All Blacks. Kids play rugby. They don't play anything else. They don't play hockey. Little boys just want to play rugby. It is in their culture. The only thing that we have that they don't have is Bok Friday. Like, that is where they go, hang on a sec, you guys all wear your Springbok jerseys on a Friday. That's incredible gears that we don't have. Like, that blows their minds. But the heritage, that's why they won't allow players to play overseas. That's why the next coach to come in probably won't be an international. It'll be somebody from New Zealand because they are so thing about the heritage. So if you beat the Springboks by 7 in your
biggest
country,
rivals.
your biggest rivals in 1 week, and the following week we haven't traveled, they've traveled to us and they come back and they beat us 43-10.
You got to go.
Wow. It's just
I hear you. I see all the reasons I'm just still saying it's a tough one.
Yeah.
And that's why they're the All Blacks, perhaps.
And they're going to play against France, Italy, and Ireland. But let's not write this off, because you must remember that Rassie was only appointed 18 months before the World Cup in 2019, and the Springboks went on to win it. So you can't write off any team.
Yep.
Okay, 2026 AFCON final will be hosts Morocco against Senegal on Sunday. Morocco needed penalties to beat Nigeria after a goalless game. For Senegal, Sadio Mane on target for the 1-0 win over Egypt. In the UK, Arsenal beating Chelsea 3-2 in the first leg of the first semi-final of the Carabao Cup. Second legs in 3 weeks' time. SA20 cricket tonight. Second on the table, Pretoria Capitals will be hosting third on the table, Paul Royals. Last night, Sunrisers Eastern Cape beat the Joburg Super Kings by 61. Tennis, first Grand Slam of the year. The Australian Open will be starting Monday. In town is Roger Federer, who's scheduled to play a doubles match with Andre Agassi, Pat Rafter, and Leighton Hewitt. Federer was asked how he thinks he would have fared against the current top two, Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner.
Carlos, when I see him, I feel like there's more similarities in terms of what we would do, in terms of when we would hit a drop shot, when we would come to the net, how offensive, how passive do we decide to play, because I think we like to play on our terms. So I put myself more into Carlos's mindset and skin when I watch him, and with Sinner, just at one time I thought, like, okay, now I understand how I would probably play against Yannick.
And at the Dakar after stage 10, South Africans Latahang and Cummins still remain second overall. They're 12 minutes behind the leaders. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Wrap up the morning's traffic. It's been, not a terrible morning, but busy here and there.
Yeah, very busy, Bongani. If you were traveling at this particular moment in the Randburg area, leaving Rand Park Bridge, you still have got those delays between Beyers-Naudé Drive and Malibongo Drive. An accident between these 2 points, about a 15-minute hold up. If you can, please try to avoid the scene. You can still make your way through the Beyers-Naudé Drive exit and then back to Malibongo Drive if you can avoid the scene. And then if you're traveling on the Mark 1 South, we've got roadworks taking place right after Greystone Drive, causing delays. There's also queuing traffic on the Mark 1 North. This is now as you approach the Greystone Drive turnoff, and that's due to faulty traffic lights. So please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey guys, this is Whit Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
LLB graduates can fast-track their legal career with the Law Society of South Africa's PVT School for Legal Practice. LPC accredited, this 4-month practice-ready course, which is taught by practicing lawyers, can reduce your PVT contract by 12 months for admission. Study by day, after hours, or via distance at campuses nationwide. The first 2026 intake runs from January to April. Applications close 31 October 2025. Apply now at lssalead.org.za. That's lssalead.org.za.
You've heard the songs, but until you've seen it live, you haven't experienced the magic of cats. Coming to Monte Casino from 17 January until 22 February, it's the memory shared by millions. Book now at Web Tickets, brought to you by Peter Turin and GWB Entertainment.
Coming up
on the Clement Manetella Show
on 702.
12 minutes before 9 o'clock. Up next is the Clement Manetella Show, and the man of the hour is here. But before we do that, let's put you on the spot and have you answer Kabazela's two questions this morning.
dear.
The first one, you're hosting a gathering at your house.
Okay.
And now you want your guests to go. Do you hint? Do you tell them directly? What do you do?
So it depends. If it is my friends that I'm close to, I tell them that I am tired. I need to go to sleep. You're welcome to stay around.
To do what?
Well, to chat, because I've got friends who hang around until like 2 a.m. in the morning. Aldrin can speak until like 3 a.m. in the morning. So they can chill in the house. I'll go up and sleep, and you can leave
No, I won't
at
be
your
able
time.
to sleep.
Or chill around and then sleep over, and then you can leave the next day. If it's people I'm not close to, I'm going to yawn a lot, pretend to be yawning a lot.
Say it's me. What would you do?
If it's you, and what time? It's midnight?
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, go home. You have a show tomorrow at 6.
No, I won't be at your house at midnight. If I'm on air the next morning, I can assure you of that. Real luxuries, things you consider real luxuries that aren't about money.
Ooh, that are not about money.
So, for example, I said health. I said sleep. At this age, sleep is a real luxury.
Yeah.
For you?
I think health. I think health is a luxury. So I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. I mean, I lost 2 friends last year, right? And I have lost 2 husbands of 2 friends, and the issue has always been health. And these are people who are almost my age. So I really think it's a luxury, and I'm very lucky to be able to be healthy and still be alive. So I think health it is.
As long as you haven't lost the 2 husbands, hey? Because at first I thought, where's he going with that?
No,
I was like, okay.
2 friends of mine who've lost their husbands.
Yes. All right, what's on the show?
So coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about the IDT CEO who has gone good riddance. What an embarrassment to the IDT, to this government, to herself and to her family. I think it's great. We don't need anybody like that in the public service. Yeah. I'm glad that she's gone. We're going to talk about the Goodman Gallery. Have you seen what's going on?
Yeah.
They have dropped an artist who was supposed to show an art piece at the Venice Biennale, and the Arts and Culture Minister has dropped the support of that woman as well, seemingly because of her art piece that somehow depicts what's been happening in Gaza. So I've asked the producers to get a hold of the Goodman Gallery because they've always been known as a very progressive art space. Remember when they defended the spear, artistic freedom? What happened to that? So we're going to talk to them, hopefully on the 702 open line, to tell us what's going on. And then at 10 o'clock, we do our hanging out feature. Today, I am hanging out with someone that we grew up watching on television, Nimrod Nkosi. Remember him from Jam, Ellie, or
Middle Center.
or on National Lottery.
Yes.
Have you ever entered the lottery?
Entered the lottery?
Yeah, like have you
played?
I
played this week.
You played the lottery?
156 million. Why wouldn't I?
Are you being serious?
I did this week.
Oh my God, this is amazing news.
I don't think I got anything.
Breaking news. Where's that sting with Swisa Zulu? And then
you know what Cindy Paluta always says? She'll send us a text saying, I won R7.50, and then she'll be like, I'll see you in the morning.
So that's my dad, since I've been young, has always entered the lottery.
No, I don't play it all the time. But if there's a huge jackpot.
What's your hope? You think you're gonna win 150 million?
No, but I'll pay like 20 rand or something like that.
Wow.
It's nothing.
This is really breaking news. Anyway, if you win, I'm your friend. I will leave
tell
with
me
you.
To leave your house. Yeah, you said
no. You can stay in the house. You can move in. And then at 11 o'clock we do our Thursday dialogue. Today we are asking if South Africa's joint naval exercise with China and Russia and Iran carry a political cost. We've got some experts who are going to join us.
Clement Manetella between 9 and 12.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
But this happened one day when I was working as a waiter. You know, after people had their drinks and everything, some would want to be sitting, having a chat there. There's one colleague of mine, he went to take a smelly mop. The mop that was so smelly, he started mopping up the place. People walked away from Mashita.
Real luxury for me is to get to spend time with people you love, people you care about, you know. And about telling people to leave, I'm straightforward. When it's time up, it's time up. Guys, thank you for coming. Let's do this again another time. Cheers. Bye.
Good morning, 702 fam. No, Bongs, I'm with you. Definitely. If people are overstaying at night and I'm tired, I will just say, guys, let's call it. Thank you for coming. It's been great. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard at all, guys. Stop people pleasing out there.
Bongani, I am with you. I agree that you have to be honest with people and send them away. Also, I was so shocked when I heard that when someone asks you what time do you normally go to bed, that's a cue for you to leave. Because I do not take these cues. I am just oblivious because according to me, you need to tell me when it's time to leave. This is Samantha from Rosebank.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
It's your life. Go and be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here. It's your life. Go and be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here.
Fetch Your Life, Fetch Your Life, Fetch Your Life. Msaki, of course, is one of the co-headliners at the Sankofa Heritage Festival coming up in Johannesburg. This, as the legendary Thandiswa Mazwai marks a powerful milestone. She's turning 50 this year, celebrating 30 years in music, and she's doing it the Sankofa way. And so she's launched this Heritage Festival in Johannesburg, which is meant to be a new cultural homecoming that honors African roots, living legends, and the future of indigenous sounds. Msaki is one of the co-headliners, and the idea is for the festival to draw deep into our musical archives, memory, and meaning. And really the idea is about fetching what we may have lost. It's a birthday, it's a legacy moment, and it's a collaboration of some living legends. Msaki joins us now on the line in Johannesburg. Msaki, always a pleasure to chat to you. You know what a huge fan of yours I am. What made you agree to be part of this?
Oh, hi, Bongani. No, very easy one. I love Thandiswa. We're really good friends, and I've seen her and the effect she has in stages all over the world. And I watched her do an incredible set last year at Southeast Bazaar as a headliner, where she just lifted us from this place of despair, you know, as Africans, and just kind of reminded us of our power, because there was just a lot going on the continent, violence in the Congo, a lot happening in Sudan, there was a lot going on in Palestine, and there was just like a despair in the air, and her as the headliner just did this magical thing. So I believe in her in terms of her role that she has to play over these generations, and anything to do with her, I've got time for it. So besides her being my friend, I'm a big fan of her artistry.
Of course. I mean, who isn't a fan of Thandiswa? She calls you a cultural worker and not just a musician. How do you see that then in terms of what Sankofa means and the idea of going back to fetch it?
Yeah. No, I think we share a real sensitivity and intentionality around the idea of Pan-Africanism in music and art, and the fact that we have this heritage, you know, from also Abantu Balaphe, South Africa, whether it's Oma Dosini, whether it's Mary Mageba, whether it's the living legend Toma Dalagunene, that are so generous even in real life, the way that they hand over this, you know, cultural heritage we get to enjoy as this next generation. So I'm really intentional about preserving and keeping that story alive, whether it's through my work with Out Black Continua, which is, you know, an intentional space to support independent artists on the continent and in the diaspora. And she knows that, we share a lot of values. So I think besides the performance, you know, there's a lot of intention that's overlapping.
I love the idea of art that has so much more meaning than just entertainment, because as we are finding out in all sorts of ways, it's a tough time to be a voice for justice. It's a tough time to be a voice that speaks out against injustice around the world. Artists are excluded, artists are disinvited, artists are ostracized, and to keep going at a time like this requires on all artists to really pull on all their resources to be the reflections and consciences of society that they often are.
Yeah, I mean, right now, even mobility to even get to places where you are invited and wanted is a problem. Like we were trying to invite some Sudanese artists to come down last year, and we had to move it to this year because their visas got rejected for no reason. So there's that as well. On top of having to carry on, when your space is in conflict, you also have bureaucratic nonsense that makes it difficult for you to just express. So for me, I feel like, Thandiso is just a bridge, between the past and the present. As somebody who's had conversations with Mambusi Mhlongo, who's friends with Brahu, who's seen, tours of 466, that whole thing, knows Paul Simon, and then is also like known to us and knows what's happening on the ground now. Nothing misses her, she's a tastemaker and a dial, for what's going on. So like, that's where I find my solace, that people like that still exist. When things are really not going well for artists, I think about how people like Thandiso still exist as a lighthouse.
All right, so for someone thinking of getting tickets, why is Sankofa Heritage Festival a must experience, a must go to experience? It's a silly question, but I have to ask it.
I mean, on her own live set is just like, it's a lift, it's like a power lift, it's like a spirit lift. In that hour, you're getting so much energy and so much intention. But Somi's coming, who's like a really good friend of ours, but an incredible artist globally, who's also, got a diasporic connection to the continent, Ugandan, East African, but has been living in New York. Also knew Brahu, has a way with music that is unmatched, so gentle but so strong. So there's a variety, and
on top of it is you.
Well.
On top of it
I hope to bring something, but
right?
These are my older sisters, and I really look up to them. And the thing is, the show on its own, just those things alone, makes it worth a day out. And I think, there'll be more curated that are in the same vein of really lifting up indigenous music that's got a global leaning, because we are completely global with our beautiful songs that come from ancient places.
Say less. Saturday, the 28th of February, happening at Big Top Arena at Carnival City. You can get your tickets from CompuTicket. Composer and singer Msaki there on the line, talking to us about the Sankofa Heritage Festival.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Yes, indeed, we are listening. More talking to come on the Clement Manetella show, which begins now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The head of crime intelligence, Dumsani Khumalo, will take the hot seat today when Parliament's ad hoc committee continues its hearings into allegations of police corruption and interference. Khumalo is expected to give testimony for the next 2 days and MPs through evidence involving allegations of sabotage and interference